Ernst, my good man.
Ah. 2 tins of the usual, Professor?
Indeed. And I would like you to meet my good friend and thorn in my scientific side, Dr. Niels Bohr.
Hello.
An honor to meet you, sir.
Ernst, are you familiar with Heisenberg's uncertainty principle?
I can't say that I am, Professor.
Well, it states that the more accurately we measure the velocity of a particle, the less accurately we can measure its position in space.
So you know exactly how fast the thing is going?
Yes, but if we do, we cannot also know where that thing is. Does that sound logical to you?
No, sir.
Of course not. And according to my esteemed colleague, the particle does not exist at all until we observe it.
That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Exactly. Thank you, Ernst.
Shall we stop by your butcher's as well? Perhaps he has an opinion on the matter.
Ha ha ha. Very amusing.
Albert, the uncertainty principle works. It functions. And it allows us to make use of the quantum world.
The goal of scientific pursuit should not be merely to make use of the world around us. It should be to understand it, fundamentally. No matter what use it might have. Albert, look out!
Just watch where you're going, please.
Why should I? Why should either of us? According to you, if that automobile was a particle, but we didn't see it, it wouldn't have been there at all. We would be perfectly safe.
Automobiles aren't subatomic particles, Albert.
Niels, it defies common sense that the rules which govern those things we can see do not apply to those we cannot. I will not turn off my brain simply because you've decided the matter is settled.
But if you don't start using your brain to observe what's right in front of you, you're going to get yourself killed.
Some people estimate that as soon as the mid-2030s, quantum computers could become available to the mainstream public. This would enable us to perform activities that are considered impossible today. Here are 9 quantum computer use cases that could greatly impact our lives. Number 1. Faster and more effective artificial intelligence. Quantum computers will transform the field of artificial intelligence since they're able to process vast amounts of data at unparalleled speeds and simulate neural networks of enormous sizes. For certain types of problems, especially the ones that involve optimization, quantum computers can calculate all solutions to those problems simultaneously instead of calculating each solution sequentially like classical computers would. Each of the solutions a quantum computer obtains could have a score associated with it. With all of this information up front, quantum computers can choose among all possible solutions and find the best answer significantly faster than a classical computer could. This could revolutionize machine learning and help us solve complex problems that were previously thought impossible. Additionally, quantum computing and artificial intelligence will continually reinforce each other and accelerate developments in both of those areas. Advances in deep learning will likely increase our understanding of quantum mechanics, while at the same time, fully realized quantum computers will likely surpass conventional computers in data pattern recognition and data classification. This could lead to virtual assistants that can detect emotions in your vocal patterns and adjust their tailored suggestions accordingly. And it could lead to non-playable video game characters that behave hyper-realistically and have the capability to carry nuanced conversations with you. According to McKinsey, we will likely start to see the benefits from this use case in the early 2030s. Number 2. Batteries for electric cars that are more energy efficient. Electric vehicle batteries contain battery cells that exert electric energy by charging and discharging. Quantum computers could provide improvements in the areas of cellular simulation and the aging of battery cells. These improvements could lead to faster charge times in electric vehicles, which can drive considerably more miles between recharges. Number 3. Development of new drugs. When scientists need to develop new drugs and chemicals, they often need to examine the exact structure of a molecule to determine its properties and understand how it might interact with other molecules. Unfortunately, even relatively small molecules are extremely difficult to model accurately using classical computers, since each atom interacts in complex ways with other atoms. Currently, it's almost impossible for today's computers to simulate basic molecules that have relatively few atoms. Quantum computers are well suited to tackle this problem, since the interactions of atoms within a molecule is itself a quantum system. In fact, experts believe that quantum computers will be able to model even the most complex molecules in our bodies. Every bit of progress in this direction will drive faster development of new drugs and other products, and potentially lead to transformative new cures. Using quantum computing, pharmaceutical companies could model larger and more complex molecules and better map interactions between a drug and its target patient, and reduce time and cost of development processes. This could lead to better diagnostics, medications, and vaccines that come sooner and more efficiently to the market. And it could lead to the discovery of new drugs for serious diseases such as cancer, Alzheimer's, and heart disease. According to McKinsey, we could start to see the benefits from this use case by the mid-2020s. Number 4, traffic optimization. Solving these problems with classical computing is a tedious, hit-and-miss process. The traveling salesman problem is an example of this type of problem. It aims to determine the shortest possible route between multiple cities, hitting each city once and returning to the starting point. This optimization problem is incredibly difficult for classical computers to handle. However, for a fully realized quantum computer, it's a cakewalk. Additionally, quantum computers could tackle routing challenges in real time by using live data from connected vehicles, containers and packages, roads and railways, warehouses, point-of-sale systems, and weather satellites. Number 5, the creation of new materials. IBM is using quantum computing to better understand the physical processes of nature, such as how matter behaves and interacts at the atomic and subatomic levels. This could lead to the creation of new materials for manufacturing. It could also help engineers design better plastics and computer chips. In the coming decades, quantum technology could help in the development of lighter and stronger materials for building automobiles, aircraft, and spacecraft. Number 6, financial modeling. According to McKinsey, the financial industry has potential to gain significant value from quantum computing by the mid-2030s. And Goldman Sachs recently announced that they could introduce quantum algorithms to price their financial instruments in as soon as the mid-2020s. Quantum computing and financial modeling are a match made in heaven thanks to their structural similarities. The entire financial market can be modeled as a quantum process. In fact, a great deal of research has focused specifically on quantum computing's potential to dramatically speed up and improve the Monte Carlo model, which gauges the probability of various outcomes and their corresponding risks. Quantum computers have the potential to sample data differently by testing more outcomes with higher precision in a fraction of the time. Quantum computing could also speed activities related to portfolio optimization, customer targeting, prediction modeling, credit scoring, and fraud detection. Number 7, cybersecurity. Since quantum computers can perform multiple calculations simultaneously, they have the potential to break any classical encryption system within the next 10 to 20 years. For example, it would take a classical computer 300 trillion years to break the 617 digits of the RSA 2048 standard for encryption. Based on our current trajectory, a fully working quantum computer in the 2030s could potentially achieve this in 10 seconds. This will be so effective at decryption that they could pose a national security risk to all developed nations. New quantum encryption technologies would be required to protect even our most basic online services. Scientists, as well as forward-thinking policymakers, are already working on quantum cryptography so that companies, governments, and citizens can protect their information. Number 8, weather forecasting. Quantum computing's method of simultaneous rather than sequential calculation will likely be successful in analyzing the enormously complex system of variables that is weather. Number 9, manufacturing processes. Quantum computing can help companies streamline operations and manufacturing processes by solving supply chain optimization problems, such as determining the availability and pricing of manufacturing components without interrupting multifaceted supply chains. It can also take large manufacturing data sets and identify which parts of a complex manufacturing process contributed to operational failures. For products like microchips, where this production process can have thousands of steps, quantum computing can have a significant impact. By 2030, the first quantum computers with 1 million qubits will emerge. To find out more about this, make sure to watch the video to the right about the future technologies in the year 2030.
Yeah, Asia. How is that? Next. Ashia. Alvin, come. You need it. Alvin probably is required. Once it should be started, I will let you know. Then I will just do it. Now it is the first session of the just please stand by. Actually, yours is done. It is called something. You need speaker. It's not. There's no audio. Just check it. There's no audio. It's just.
In a sense, as it spins, the coin is both heads and tails. Similarly, the electron's wave of chance passes through both slits, two paths at the same time. Our coin then stops at heads. The ethereal wave of probability hits the screen and only then becomes a particle. The quantum world was unlike anything ever seen before. It's hard to overstate just how crazy this is. In a sense, as it spins, the coin is both heads and tails. Similarly, the electron's wave of chance passes through both slits, two paths at the same time. Our coin then stops at heads. The ethereal wave of probability hits the screen and only then becomes a particle. The quantum world was unlike anything ever seen before.
Another way to think of the paired particles is to imagine a game of chance that's somehow rigged.
Suppose I had a pair of quantum dice. I put these two quantum dice in my little cup, throw them. I look at them, they show the same number, 6. I put them again in the cup, throw them again. Now they both show 3. I put them in again, throw again. Now they both show 1. Point now being, what I see here is, I see 2 random processes, namely each die showing some number, but these two random processes do the same. That's really mind-boggling.
How could two particles act in unison even when they're separated from each other?
Essential to the EPR argument is that these particles can be separated at an arbitrary distance. One could be here at Princeton, one could be in the Andromeda galaxy. And yet, according to quantum mechanics, a choice to measure something here is somehow instantaneously affecting what could be said about this other particle. You can't go from Princeton to Andromeda instantly. And yet that, they argued, is what the equations of quantum mechanics seem to imply. And that, they said, so much the worse for quantum mechanics. The world simply can't operate that way.
Another way to think of the paired particles is to imagine a game of chance that's somehow rigged.
Suppose I had a pair of quantum dice. I put these two quantum dice in my little cup, throw them. I look at them, they show the same number, 6. I put them again in the cup, throw them again. Now they both show 3. I put them in again.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. ये म्यूजिक कहाँ से आ रहा है? वो बंद है अभी ओके आप बॉक्स दिखा बॉक्स निकल कंप्लीट आप जरूरत नहीं जरूरत नहीं माइक्रोफोन अलग है ये म्यूजिक का अलग है नहीं अभी 2 मिनट के लिए म्यूजिक चलता है प्ले करना हां कल लेकिन वो म्यूजिक बंद कर कौन सा अभी म्यूजिक ये आप कैसे उधर से कहां से आ रहा है ये प्रेस यहाँ पे नहीं तो डायरेक्ट म्यूजिक इधर भी होता है इधर तो कुछ प्ले नहीं हो रहा है इधर तो कुछ नहीं है वही है ना ये देखिए प्ले हो रहा है ये देखिए नहीं वो प्ले करता है उसका किधर से भी कनेक्ट गुड मॉर्निंग इधर भी नहीं है कनेक्टेड है इधर ना इसके लिए आपका बैकग्राउंड में कुछ चल रहा है
Ernst, my good man.
Ah. 2 tints after usual, Professor?
Indeed. And I would like you to meet my good friend and thorn in my scientific side, Dr. Niels Bohr.
Hello.
An honor to meet you, sir.
Right, ठीक है हम लोग स्टार्ट कर यस यस ठीक है ना भाई ओके चलो भाई
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and for choosing to spend your Saturday morning with us. My name is Smitty, the real one, and I'll be your host for today.
Good morning, everyone. I am the real one. Thank you so much for being here and choosing to spend your Saturday morning with us. I am Smriti. I'll be your host for today. So there's a profound saying, the truth that brings us all here. Superior software is AI and superior hardware is quantum computing. We have gathered here today, not just for a session, but for a conversation about the future where we are headed. This isn't just another TED Talk. This is a conversation about two of the most powerful innovations of humanity that has ever been created, artificial intelligence and quantum computing. Welcome to AI Quantum Nexus, the epicenter where artificial intelligence meets what we believe could be the great next partner, quantum computing. Think of it as like Romeo finally meeting Juliet, with way more maths and slightly less drama. I know these kind of events can be a little bit intimidating, but you don't need PhD to grasp and cover up. So we will try to keep it as understandable and as less of jargons and buzzwords. So I hope you have got some moment and you grab your water bottles and you got to meet some new faces. If not, don't worry, we will give you some more time during the break and you can speak and network with people and speakers over here. So without any further overview, we'll get a glimpse of what we are covering today. I'll give you a snapshot how we have planned the next few hours for you. First, we will see about the AI that we already know. How did we go from AI that can calculate to that can create? So we will get to know about how did we take this leap. And then we will look into the quantum. Bits are cool, but wait till you meet qubits. They are the rule breakers of computing. And then, because all of this sounds very powerful, we will have to look into how to build all of this responsibly. So we'll look into ethics and governance, how to build the future with these powerful technologies with one of our speakers over there. Now, I would finally like to call upon and keep it, this is not a session, one-way talk, keep it interactive, ask your questions, ask your doubts. So now I know, let's begin. You know how everyone keeps talking about ChatGPT and all these tools that suddenly started creating poems, writing emails, and creating art. Someone needs to explain how we went from computers that can calculate to computers that can create. So please welcome Mr. Ravi Sahani, founder of Irisstar Technologies. Please take over. This is your stage and explain us how AI went from doing.
Thank you. Welcome you all here. So what if I ask you a simple question? And thinking machine could not only analyze our word, but could also imagine the new one.
Yes.
Yeah. So traditionally, we all know it's a predictable outcome kind of thing, where we were always doing the spam filtering, fraud alerts, image recognitions, and other things. And think of a generative AI where we are saying it's creating the text, art, music, videos, or even computer code. Yeah, and understand it that okay, where we have gone from, which was all traditional AI where the spam filters were there, fraud alerts were there, to the one which we are creating now. Yeah. So why it matters? So see in terms of okay, what GitHub is doing it, yeah, which is writing the codes, functions, comments, yeah, chat GPTs, which can write the poems and other things, yeah. 11 that clothes, yeah. Delhi, yeah. Then it is impacting the complete industries, which is from marketing, education, entertainment, so healthcare. So these are all the examples of auto generations and all things. I think the contextual is so understand what is happening behind the screens. Yeah. So Chat GPT was trained on thousands plus GPUs. Yeah. So which is on the NVIDIA Edge 100, we all know. Yeah. And the cost of training a simple LLMs is maybe to use of $30 million. Yeah. So cloud platforms are required, like Azure, Google, huge data centers, lot of electricities, and months of work. So it's just like teaching a child to read all the books. Simply understand that okay, LLMs took a lot of time, effort to drive that out, yeah. And it's really complex and expensive. So there are a lot of you can say that okay, the cost of power, environment, real-time energy. So these are things which we need behind the screen, and it is slower because of Moore's laws and other things we are hitting. Even if you put in more of the data or compute, it will still not go where it has to go. Yeah, because there is a consumption. And what is the next? It is the quantum. Yeah, which is basically instead of 0 and 1, qubits are coming. So that may it will only change that. Yeah, the speed will change. Yeah, simulation, the complex will change. Yeah, so that's where it is. So all these AIs and other things, this will solve our problem through quantum. Let's see how it works out. Yeah, so a lot of the future.
That's a good man.
Hi. 2 tins of the usual, Professor?
Indeed. And I would like you to meet my good friend, Dawn, in a scientific setting, Dr. Niels Bohr.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
And are you familiar with Heisenberg's uncertainty principle?
I can't say that I am, Professor.
Well, it states that the more accurately we measure the velocity of a particle, the less accurately we can measure its position in space.
So you know exactly how fast the thing is going?
Yes, but if we do, we cannot also know where that thing is. Does that sound logical to you?
No, sir.
Of course not. And according to my esteemed colleague, the particle does not exist at all until we observe it.
That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Exactly. Thank you, Ernst.
Shall we stop by your butcher's as well? Perhaps he has an opinion on the matter.
Ah, very good.
The uncertainty principle works. It functions. And it allows us to make use of the quantum world.
The goal of scientific pursuit should not be merely to make use of the world around us. It should be to understand it fundamentally. No matter what use it might have.
Just watch where you're going, please.
Why should I? Why should I, the Robbers? According to you, if that automobile was a particle, but we didn't see it, it wouldn't have been there at all. We would be perfectly safe.
Automobiles aren't subatomic particles.
However, yes, it defies common sense that the rules which govern those things we can see do not apply to those we cannot. I will not turn off my brain simply because you've decided the matter is settled.
Well, if you don't start using your brain to observe what's right in front of you, you're going to get yourself killed.
So basically, it's a different way of compute. Forget of the way we were doing it earlier, and quantum will be differently done. Yeah, thank you all. I think
Thank you, Mr. Rowling. That was my expanding. Generative AI has really gone from autocomplete to art critic overnight. But there is something that he pointed out, that we are sitting against the wall. It's like running 8K on a dial-up. So the ambition is there, but the hardware is not quite. So let's get into quantum. But now you would be thinking all physics stuff is coming, but just trust me, we will make it as simple as possible and just keep your curiosity up, ask questions if you need at the end. Now I would like to call upon Mr. Prabhu Ramaswamy, a quantum computing enthusiast and researcher from IBM. He will show us, so we have seen zeros and ones, but qubits that can be both, either of them at the same time. So that's actually possible and no universe has been broken. He will show us the superposition, which is basically quantum multitasking on steroids, and entanglement, which Einstein called spooking action at a distance. So Prabhu.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for it's good to talk to you all in this morning. Yeah. Okay. To this session. So we had an understanding about how the generative AI is working and generating on the background how the GPU processing information produces. Right? So this heavy processing has certain limitations in terms of processing capabilities and other things. So when we are talking about the initially how the computations and processes are made, it is made up of transistors, right? So keep on it is getting doubled, and we are in the scenario of processing several petabytes of data through the supercomputers, but still it has certain limitations, which is being surpassed by quantum computing technology. So this is when talking about quantum computing. So we are in the need of correlating physics with us. So because the way how these quantum computers are formed, this is not about the paradigm shift of doing one form of computer to another form of computing. This is completely a way we are talking about a new set of hardware, new set of algorithms, and a new set of imagination. Even we say, somebody is telling and listening. It is all about taking ourselves to the philosophy of the religion and several other things. So we're talking about this quantum computing, right? So in the traditional way of computing, so we are talking about bits pattern, zeros and ones, right? So when we have on and off, that is the only two things we know, because we are doing this computation in traditional computing in a serial fashion, okay? But now think about a scenario when a switch is being put on or put off. So there are multiple states in between, from getting on to off or off to on. So what about if it is a combination of 100% of on, 100% off, or 90% of 100%, 10%, 80% to 20, 70% to 80. So from dullness to darkness and darkness to brightness and brightness to dullness. So this is a way how you could imagine the quantum computing. What I mean to say is, in between 0 and 1, there are many several states. That is known as superposition, right? So I'm moving from this to there. So it's not that I'm standing here or going there. there are in between positions, which is at runtime. So you could say, if you think about a hard disk or a memories are in runtime and hard disk are in static, right? But you cannot put everything in at runtime always, right? But the quantum is making it possible. That is because when I'm referring to the processor, it is working as a transistor. When I pass the gate power, it is going to be 1 or taking out the power of the transistor, it is to be off. But think about it, current transistor size is less than the molecule of your blood vessel. That is the situation right now. Around 400 billion transistors in the current regular use not a supercomputer, but maximum capability computer system. But it cannot be expanded further. That is the reason quantum came in. In quantum computing, the machine itself is different. It is not talking about semiconductor material. It is not talking about your NOR, XOR, gate, logical gate processor. It is working serial. This is completely a new material called superconducting material. So there it takes, atom itself is a transistor. The base of the minimum transistor being used in quantum computing is a atom. So that is where we are taking atom as a basis, as a transistor for doing solid calculation. That is where we are referring to the atom and physics. So something that you can go back. So there are main philosophies that we have to see when we're talking about this quantum computing. One is that superposition. So sometimes I can explain. So in state of an object, you can take a voltage in this case, 0 or 1, right? So the voltage can exist from one position to another position. There are multiple states in between. That's what we're talking about. So for a transformation or a process or an object, so basically it's a static object. A static object can exist in multiple dynamic states, runtime states. That is what we call as a superposition. Okay. So when talking about this atom, so we know that the basic science, right? Physics where we are everything is all the atoms are considered as an electron, proton, and neutron. So the electrons are circulating in a defined direction, and there is a correlation between these two, and they can hold multiple positions, right? So this is, we are referring to physics and atom, as I said earlier. So the basic computational material is quantum computing itself is atom. That is what we are referring to philosophy over here. So when referring to the multiple positions, so the object can take multiple simultaneous dimensions. It is very hard to, if you imagine the superposition of an atom circulating around, it will form as a cloud. That's what the physics is. I am not a physics student. Actually, I have studied whatever I have studied according to the computer science. So this means that when the circulation of electrons forming the formation of a cloud, think about it, how much speed it rotates. Can you imagine that with our traditional computer system, is it possible for a period of time, for a quantum of second or per second, what are all the positions the particular atom takes up? It is not possible. It may be possible, but it takes several years to compute. That is the reason scientists the quantum computing takes the electron itself, the atomic structure itself for calculation. That is very, we have not seen it, we are just equating data and keep on caring about it. But there are certain computer systems evolved, but it is not in practical use nowadays. It is used for very scientific research by major companies, Google, IBM, other companies. All the companies are having quantum computers. But it is costing around what I have seen is more than 10 million in cost. So when talking about superposition, that's what it is. It is like having multiple positions for a same object or same condition. So this is one state, and when talking about another philosophy in this area, which is called as entanglement. This is again related to physics. In conceptual or fiction, we hear about parallel universe or metaverse, right? Existence of multiple galaxies in theory, everybody will understand. There are multiple universes, of course, but when talking about entanglement, what does it mean? There are some existence in the overall universe, right? So, or overall galaxy, or whatever we call it as a big structure beyond your imagination. There is one exists, and as the same one, another exists in another location, or another place where it goes beyond our light years of imagination. So one is changed, another the reflection can be obtained in another places also. What I mean is in physics, when two atoms, I'm coming back to physics again, I will come to the computer again. So when atoms are combined, right? So one atom is combined with another one. When you are logically breaking it and combining it, that is called entanglement. Which means that if I'm toggling one atom, the combination of another is also will toggle. That is called as entanglement in physics, not in computer science. Now, let us bring this concept to the computer science. Here we are talking about atoms for computation purposes. The real atom. When talking about atom, it is a real atom. So what I mean is, think about a parallel processing in computer science, right? So you may hear about event-driven processing or webhook or webhook. So where I'm making one event, something has to be reflected on another. Not exactly should be the same, but in a correlated order, right? Because these atoms in nature are combined to one another. I'm coming back from physics to the computer science, computer science back to the physics, because we're talking about this entanglement. These atoms are related to each other. We are related to each other. The material what we gather is related to each other. So when one changes, how other is reacting, how other is reacting. There is a cyclic reaction among the space, among this place, everywhere, right? So that's why we are talking about this entanglement, the correlation of objects. What does it mean is, consider about 10 years back, if you have been in this, done something, what would be right now? It is an imagination, right? So it is possible we can build ML models, we can build multiple combination of ML models. But if it is comes to this atomic-based computer system, computing method, so it is very easy to process because we are talking about multiple dimensions, so multiple stream of objects and correlation between the objects. So basically, to say traditional computer systems are scalar, it has numbers, but qubits are we regard as the bits and qubits. Qubits is the computations are used in quantum. Right? In quantum, it is a vector basically. It have a value, but over the period of varying time period, and also varying correlation. So in talking about qubits in physics, think about the billions of parameters, millions of parameters. That is very beyond the imagination of what the traditional computing systems are talking about. So if this is coming to successful, we have a very big scope and we have new way of inventing the hardware, new way of inventing the algorithms, new way of doing the computation, even new way of imagination completely. We are all going to forget what the computer science, what we are doing, what we have done so far. It is completely a different one. So it is an exciting thing which is talking about this is to understand the existence of atom, because atom is used as a basic particle of computation element in quantum computing. So that is I think that last row is where
yeah, you can see the quantum.
Yes. So to just an example of superposition.
Suppose I did the paired particle.
This talks about entanglement, okay?
No, let's put the superposition.
Okay. So let us come to this point of superposition. So
in a sense,
this way.
As it spins, the coin is both heads and tails. Similarly, the electron's wave of chance passes through both slits, two paths at the same time. Our coin then stops at heads. The ethereal wave of probability hits the screen and only then becomes a particle. The quantum world was unlike anything ever seen before.
Right.
It's hard to overstate just how crazy.
Yes. So this is if you go to quantum computing, you take any basic example, this is what everybody will say. So take the coin, you get 2 or 1, and in between there are multiple. That's what it is actually, it is visualized. So now they spoken about atoms, waves and objects. So this is called the particle wave plurality. What does it mean? You have seen the animation. So information is triggered. It is from the physical state, it went to another form, and then get to the physical state. Another form is energy, and reflect back to physics again, right? So the material, whatever they produce, that is electron, the basic unit of our computing or quantum. So it is being produced. It takes the form, does not exist. It is converted to the wave, until it is converted to the physical form as an object. Okay? So this is nothing to do with the computer science. This is the basis of physics. Okay? So material, existent, inexistent, and inexistent existence. Material to the wave, wave to the material, or particle to the wave, and wave to the particle. Why this is coming here? If you take the IBM configuration of computers or any sort, right? So there is something called interference. So interference is the core of computation engine where it makes the configuration, it takes a formation of strings and then it puts into the waveform. So the waveform is getting converted to the object form array. So this is a fundamental philosophy where it states maintaining the state of an object dynamically, right? So through the interference, it is connected to entanglement. If you come to the entanglement section next video,
Another way to think of the paired particles is to imagine a game of chance that's
sometimes
rigged.
Sometimes that refer to the parallel universe, metaverse, and the existence of one with respect to another. So here you can play with this to understand what.
Suppose I had a pair of quantum dice. I put these two quantum dice in my little cup, throw them. Look at them, they show the same number, 6. I put them again in the cup, throw them again. Now they both show 3. Put them in again, throw again. Now they both show 1. Point now being, what I see here is, I see 2 random processes, namely each die showing some number, but these 2 random processes do the same. That's really mind-blowing.
How could 2 particles act in unison, even when they're separated from each other?
Essential to the EPR argument is that these particles can be separated at an arbitrary distance. One could be here at Princeton, one could be in the Andromeda galaxy. And yet, according to quantum mechanics, a choice to measure something here is somehow instantaneously affecting what could be said about this other part. You can't go from Princeton to Andromeda, and yet that, they argue, is what the equations of quantum mechanics seem to imply, and that is so much the worse for quantum mechanics. The world simply can't operate that way.
I hope you understand. So think about the relationship between models, right? So with respect to one model to another model to another model to another, there are 1,000 models. What is the relationship over the period of time and among others? So that is the use case that we can see with this quantum. So if we talk about the relationship between the existence, not necessarily to be the same as that is showing the right 6 as another activity. But over the period of time, the correlation changes, but it will constantly change under different patterns. So this is being used in many places. So we talk about quantum teleportation. This is not the use case that we are familiar with, but it is talking about how they exchange information as an object and as an different form from one place to another place. And then drug dimension. So this is a known use case in healthcare. Everybody knows about it. For example, if chemotherapy medicine is given. So how does it make sensitive medicine? Right? The chemotherapy medicine is going to talk to each and every cell in the body. So this, so far, what not invented in this world is of human body, not human body, any body of any animal, right? So it's not invented completely so far. We don't know what it is. So how does each molecule, each organ is talking to the body and reacts for the chemotherapy medicine? So as I said earlier, so the massive computational capability of quantum computing, because it is the nature, actually. It talks about the nature, talks with the nature. So it is easy to understand the pattern of formation of how this medicine reacts in the body over the period of time. So that is an excellent use case. And then cryptography theory. So we know that we all normally use RSA 256 pattern, right? So there are more patterns as well, more algorithms that we can think of over a period of time. But now, this is easy to decrypt in quantum because it provides massive computational capability with respect to various dimensionalities. So in that case, it is very easy to decrypt all the information that they give. Using this quantum cryptography, you can create your endless possible number of keys. For example, I am defining 1,000 digit of keys. It is very much possible in quantum. So I can define it how it should be over the period of time. I'm going to unlock my hotel door after my room door after 2 hours. So what should be the pattern over the period of time? If somebody that level we can define it because of the calculation. That is up to imagination, as I said. The quantum and science everything of imagination, but this is not imagination. But this talks about the capability of quantum. What possible can we do? Think about it. So whatever the packages, software we have done so far, it's all going to be one entire over a period of time because we are bringing the nature with us to do the computing. Atom is a basic structure, right? Over atom is an art, right? So we are going to talk to the nature, right? So this is what the quantum computing is. It is going to bring massive parallel processing, massive computational power. So it is going to bring lot of business for business people, lot of innovation for the scientists. So it is going to open a lot of opportunity for all of us in the engineering future. When the size of hardware is coming to cheaper rate, right? if it's adaptable, if the computational things are adaptable with quantum, then it's going to knock out, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities in this space. Yeah, we have talked about it. So 3 main points I'm going to complete it. So one is the parallelism. So we're talking about parallel computing, GPUs, multiple simultaneous engines. This is all happening, but again, inside this all happening in a serial fashion. This is going to accumulate everything and producing the final one. That is how we are doing parallelism, because that is how we are starting with simultaneous. That's all. But inside it is serialization. But here we talk about the entanglement and all this, the existence of multiple bytes of arrays over the cloud. Cloud, not the topological cloud, but the real cloud. So it is going to create a lot of real parallelism, which is going to achieve, think about the number of instruction process or whatever you think of technically, this is going to be exponential in this case. And then talking about exponential speed, of course it is. And then there are cases that we can think of in general. So in machine learning, we talk about diamond charge reduction for improving the performance of the remote model. Here we are going to think about reducing dimensions, but if you think about increasing dimensions, so you can control the hallucination much because of the computational structure of array that it provides. So yeah, so there are limitations. So these hardware are prepared with specialized materials for the superconductors, right? So again, I don't want to go to physics. But it provides a way of continuous execution of your space without giving continuous constant supply. So this causes a speed up, but it also at the same time, if any noise comes up outside, it may be a sound or light or whatever, this everything is going to be passed. It's called deformation. So that is where all the companies are trying to solve this problem. How to isolate this? So there are certain temperatures that are occurring at a minus 180 degrees centigrade. So that is the place where this all these systems will operate. So there are certain physical limitations and there are noises. Basically, everything will be disturbed by the noise. So the noise control is a much more area where companies are spending a lot of time and money in bringing the accuracy of the system. So that is where currently this quantum computing is failing. So not failing, but there is one of the areas where it is actually improved. So and again, as I said, 10 million is the right now cost that is paid from IBM side for this system. So these are some of the areas where we see improvement companies are making. So one day I think it will come down as how we get the laptop and mobile nowadays. It may take a generation or maybe a couple of years, but once it comes in, then we all will be living in a new possible future. What we have not imagined so far. So that is the possibility of quantum. I think I have taken a lot of time more than what is allocated to me. Sorry about it. Interest is fine. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, please go ahead.
So classical computing is based on semiconductor.
Yes.
So here also the same semiconductor is going to use.
No. That's the same. The way how the semiconductor-based processor works is not going to be used in quantum computing. So what they refer is 4 different kinds of computational engines. I have operated the computational engine as a processor. So the computational engine is superconductor method. The superconductor method is what will do. Superconductor, what the electron will pass. If you remove one electron out of the copper, or sound bit is what we are talking about. We are taking one electron out of it. And then what will happen is another electron is attracted. So that is what electricity is getting connected. But here in superconducting material, what will happen is it brings down the specific temperature, minus 180 temperature where the superconductors are operating. What will do is in the situation, electrons will not be removed. One electron is added afterwards. So what will happen? Because of that, continuous, there won't be any obstacles. So because of obstacles, all the electrons will try to communicate to one another. Because of which it will go continuous processing. If you come after 100 years after the process will be running until you deform it, until you stop it. Which means that if you bring the minus 101 degree stop. This is one way. Another way is on the you may cover from Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi based on Wi-Fi. So similarly here we have called photons. Photons is a very basic material which is communicating the atom from one particle to another. So that is another computation quantum. Yeah. Yes. So I think some governments have done this exercise to pull data from another, from thousands of, I think 1,040 the government of Bangladesh. They have taken the data from Earth to the left.
Yeah.
Yes, so the superconductor materials are exist actually, but what material they use is up to the company. We know the superconductor material philosophy, but what combination they use, what exactly what the superconductor material they use is the company. No, no. There is no solution at all. Whatever the computer we are seeing so far, we have to correct. There is something different. There is a new computer, new data, new algorithm, new hardware. Completely okay. Fine.
That was quite insightful. So now we have learned mind is actually blown.
What he's trying to tell is there is another Smriti. What he's trying to tell is there is another Smriti hosting a similar event somewhere in Andromeda galaxy. Let's hope. Let's see.
Now we get to meet her. Now that we're seeing that quantum can be multiple things at the same time, particles magically connected to each other. But now we want to see if actually it's a hypo, there is a use case somewhere being used. So we have Dr. Kiran Naidu that is going to bring quantum computing down to earth for us. He's not just going to tell us that quantum is cool, but he's actually going to show us from helping discover new medicines to solving traffic jam problems and also to managing your investment portfolio. So Dr. Naidu, please take how AI went from cloud fear to meditation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Very good morning, all of you. It's really eye-opening for me. Mr. Prabhu has given a very good introduction on quantum computing. I believe we all got to know the basics, the architecture of quantum computing after his work. Now I'm going to show some two use cases, real-time use cases, where quantum computing and the artificial intelligence work together to give the best results. My name is Dr. Kiran. I am working as a research scientist in Abu Dhabi Polymers Research and Development. I have some experience in data science. I've been in UAE for the last 7 years. Before I worked with the healthcare industry in US Chicago for 6 years. So let's get started. Before I go and show some use cases, before I go and start discussing about the use cases, the basic aim for my understanding quantum computing, where we can use it. Since we've been working on machine learning, deep learning, data science, model development for the long term, right? When we have our data, let's say, for example, I want to classify my data into spam and not spam. If my data is very much dividable, which is nothing but I can divide the data spam and non-spam, which is a hyperplane, I can happily use it. What if my data is not able to separate it? Then I have to convert my data to high-dimensional data. Then only I can separate my data spam and non-spam classification models. Converting low dimension to high dimension, we use kernel models. But this cannot be done in a simple computers, like what we are using, GPU, NPU, and CPUs. We have to use a quantum computing when you're dealing with a massive amount of data to convert the normal dimension data to hyperdimension data. That's where exactly the quantum computing comes in the picture, where your data converts from normal to hyperdimensional. One classic example. This is what exactly has done IBM with a Moderna when they're doing a lot of big research in mRNA research. I believe you all remember our pandemic time zone, right? So we worked at home so many years. I was in Dubai. I worked with a company called AW Rostamani in data science. So complete 1 year, I believe, more than 1 year, I was at home. So I think it's going to be a different experience, but at the same time, if you're doing it, at that time point of time, how many companies have done the research on the coming up with the vaccines? One of the vaccines, at that time, you can say that Moderna. So this Moderna company, you can go to this side.
Some people estimate that as soon as
then we can get started.
the mid-2030s, quantum computers could become available to the mainstream public.
This would enable us to perform activities that are considered impossible today. Here are 9 quantum computer use cases that could greatly impact our lives. Number 1, faster and more effective artificial intelligence.
Quantum computers will transform the field of artificial intelligence since they're able to process vast amounts of data at unparalleled speeds and simulate neural networks of enormous sizes. For certain types of problems, especially the ones that involve optimization, quantum computers can calculate all solutions to those problems simultaneously instead of calculating each solution sequentially like classical computers would. Each of the solutions a quantum computer obtains could have a score associated with it. With all this information up front, quantum computers can choose among all possible solutions and find the best answer significantly faster than the classical computer could. This will revolutionize machine learning and help us solve complex problems that were previously thought impossible. Additionally, quantum computing and artificial intelligence will continually reinforce each other and accelerate developments in both of those areas. Advances in deep learning will likely increase our understanding of quantum mechanics, while at the same time, fully realized quantum computers will likely surpass conventional computers in data pattern recognition and data classification. This could lead to virtual assistants that can detect emotions in your vocal patterns and adjust their tailored suggestions accordingly. And they could lead to non-playable video game characters that behave hyper-realistically and have the capability to carry nuanced conversations with you. According to McKinsey, we will likely start to see the benefits from this use case in the early 2030s. Number 2, batteries for electric cars that are more energy efficient. Electric vehicle batteries contain battery cells that exert electric energy by charging and discharging. Quantum computers could provide improvements in the areas of cellular simulation and the aging of battery cells. These improvements could lead to faster charge times in electric vehicles, which can drive considerably more miles between recharges. Number 3, development of new drugs. When scientists need to develop new drugs and chemicals, they often need to examine the exact structure of a molecule to determine its properties and understand how it might interact with other molecules. Unfortunately, even relatively small molecules are extremely difficult to model accurately using classical computers, since each atom interacts in complex ways with other atoms. Currently, it's almost impossible for today's computers to simulate basic molecules that have relatively few atoms. Quantum computers are well suited to tackle this problem, since the interactions of atoms within a molecule is itself a quantum system. In fact, experts believe that quantum computers will be able to model even the most complex molecules in our bodies. Every bit of progress in this direction will drive faster development of new drugs and other products, and potentially lead to transformative new cures. Using quantum computing, pharmaceutical companies can model larger and more complex molecules and better map interactions between the drug and its target patient, and reduce time and costs of development processes. This could lead to better diagnostics, medications, and vaccines that come sooner and more efficiently to the market. And they can lead to the discovery of new drugs for serious diseases such as cancer, Alzheimer's, and heart disease. According to McKinsey, we can start to see the benefits from this use case by the mid-2020s. Number 4, traffic optimization. Solving these problems with classical computing is a tedious, hit-and-miss process. The traveling salesman problem is an example of this type of problem. It aims to determine the shortest possible route between multiple cities, hitting each city once, and return to the starting point. This optimization problem is incredibly difficult for classical computers to handle. However, for a fully realized quantum computer, it's a cakewalk. Additionally, quantum computers can tackle modern challenges in real time by using live data from connected vehicles, containers and packages, roads and railways, warehouses, point-of-sale systems, and weather satellites. Number 5, the creation of new materials. IBM is using quantum computing to better understand the physical processes of nature, such as how matter behaves and interacts at the atomic and subatomic levels. This can lead to the creation of new materials for manufacturing. It could also help engineers design better plastics and computer chips. In the coming decades, quantum technology could help in the development of lighter and stronger materials for building automobiles, aircraft, and spacecraft. Number 6, financial modeling. According to McKinsey, the financial industry has potential to gain significant value from quantum computing by the mid-2030s. And Goldman Sachs recently announced that they could introduce quantum algorithms to price their financial instruments in as soon as the mid-2020s. Quantum computing and financial modeling are a match made in heaven thanks to their structural similarities. The entire financial market can be modeled as a quantum process. In fact, a great deal of research has focused specifically on quantum computing's potential to dramatically speed up and improve the Monte Carlo model, which gauges the probability of various outcomes and the corresponding risks. Quantum computers have the potential to sample data differently by testing more outcomes with higher precision in a fraction of the time. Quantum computing could also speed activities related to portfolio optimization, customer targeting, prediction modeling, credit scoring, and fraud detection. Number 7, cybersecurity. Since quantum computers can perform multiple calculations simultaneously, they have the potential to break any classical encryption system within the next 10 to 20 years. For example, it would take a classical computer 300 trillion years to break the 617 digits of the RSA 2048 standard for encryption. Based on our current trajectory, a fully working quantum computer in the 2030s could potentially achieve this in 10 seconds. This will be so effective at decryption that they could pose a national security risk to all developed nations. New quantum encryption technologies would be required to protect even our most basic online services. Scientists, as well as forward-thinking policymakers, are already working on quantum cryptography so that companies, governments, and citizens can protect their information. Number 8, weather forecasting. Quantum computing's method of simultaneous rather than sequential calculation will likely be successful in analyzing the enormously complex system of variables that is weather. Number 9, manufacturing processes. Quantum computing can help companies streamline operations and manufacturing processes by solving supply chain optimization problems, such as determining the availability and pricing of manufacturing components without interrupting multifaceted supply chains. It can also take large manufacturing data sets and identify which parts of a complex manufacturing process contributed to operational failures. For products like microchips, where this production process can have thousands of steps, quantum computing can have a significant impact. By 2030, the first quantum computers with 1 million qubits will emerge. To find out more about this, make sure to watch the video to the right about the future technologies in the year 2030.
Thank you. I think it's been a good video where it shows a lot of examples, right? Okay, so we were talking about one of the use cases here, IBM and Modellina. We can go to here. So in the pandemic, we all remember, so a lot of companies have started manufacturing, identified a lot of research on drug manufacturing, etc. Right? So this is also one of the classic and real-time examples where IBM and Modellina clubbed together to do the mRNA research. In that, Modellina has collaborated with IBM for the quantum computing, and Modellina has started the mRNA research. What does that mean? What mRNA does? mRNA, let's assume, is a messenger. In our body, it sends signals to each and every cell how much protein it has to generate, so that that protein will fight for the disease. But imagine how many permutation combinations or the drug multiple combinations you have to generate to get the optimal signal. It's a billion and trillion signals it has to optimize it. If we want to do a classical system example, obviously using the GPU or an NPU, whatever, it takes a number of years. With the quantum computing, they have used 80 qubits. You already explained quantum computing works on qubits, right? So they use the 80 qubits to generate this kind of a optimization engine to generate the mRNA optimization of drug research. So that is one successful area where we can see artificial intelligence and the interaction with the quantum computing, how it will generate a real-time application. One classic example I also wanted to explain here. I worked with a company called United Healthcare in US Chicago. We developed one model called drug adherence. How many customers or not a customer, I can say patients, are really taking to the seriousness of adherence to the drug. For example, I'm using a pill. After 2-3 days, I'm very good. I don't use it. Even doctor will say for 10 days. So I'm very good. So, but it will have an impact, or the impact on our body after some time. So that drug adherence for each and every patient, we develop a model. using a deep learning. I still remember when I was developing the model training, I took 4 days. I just run my server, gone home, 4 days continuously that particular training data is being running 1 day, 2nd day, 3rd and 4th day. 4th day after, I got a very bad result. Again, I have to retry it. So this is a real classic example of what we used to work in 2013, 2014. But now imagine if we have a computer, such a quantum computer, in a fraction of seconds we can be able to do that. But again, the touch point here is quantum computer is not meant for every business case. They're specialized in some of the use cases only, like drug research, optimization in logistics. We cannot use the quantum computing for my inverse transform calculation. Not required, right? So this is one of the classic examples that you can see. And if you go to second slide, please. We talk about what are the advantages, how it works, what simulated. It simulated trillions and billions of the opportunities where it identified the folds, because the message, mRNA sent, it's not a static message. It has to identify a lot of folds. To get that particular optimized fold, it has to simulate billion sometimes. And such is quantum computing facing the goal which I did. Next slide, please. So this is the examples, approach goals, and also you can see it's very self-explanatory, basically what we have discussed already. Go next, please. Yeah. So this is one more important and classic example. You might have already seen it, right? So quantum computing in logistics. Now I'm working with a company, research and development, where we do serve to enter the world logistics services. So we deal with each and every country in the world. Asia North, Asia South, Middle East. We send components to them. But we don't do any optimization, network optimization. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. Thank you. So this business case talks about how DHL and how Volkswagen deal with quantum computing to do the get the optimized route optimization. Right? For example, when we wanted to send a component, a million of components or the parcels to the customer, there are multiple routes in the world. Which is the best route I can choose it? Based on the multiple factors, traffic, some external factors, traffic, weather, some action might be happened, or carbon I have to reduce it. So internal data and market data, I have to choose all these to identify the best route to reduce the cost for me, oil cost, also to reduce the carbon footprint for me. That's what exactly I need to run multiple billions of simulations to get the optimal route for each and every customer. DHL, they serve millions of customers. If I want to route optimization for one guy, one customer, think about it, how many simulations I have to run it by considering real-time data right now. I live very nearby here. I can walk on it run. But if I want to live in Mustafa, I have to identify which is the best route to avoid the toll, whatever. We do it, right? So this route optimization is also plays a very important role in terms of the logistics service companies. They do it. But these are the big giants, they have utilized the quantum computing to come up with this kind of opportunity to utilize it and get the best out of it to save $1 billion for that. And this is a hybrid classic model. Normally what we do, we identify the optimal model, like a simulation, whatever we do it, and go for it. But quantum computing, fraction of lightning speed, it will give you each and every customer wide, it has given each and every customer wide, this is the optimal route. By combining the multiple customers, right? I have to take the multiple customers also into consideration in the same route. So that's where exactly this parallelism works here. Yes. So finally, conclusion. Quantum computing, at my view, is not meant for each and every use case. It is specialized for only specific use cases, what we have seen in healthcare and the logistics especially, and very highly expensive, as we know already. But it does the parts of things which we cannot even imagine with the normal computers. As a data scientist, we always feel, we all in the data science field, you always feel that how much time it is taking time for the trying the model, especially when you're trying the deep learning models. And retrying it, fail, retrying it, fail. But this quantum computing will help us in terms of the lightning speed to deliver the model, scalability model. The final is quantum computing is not only meant for faster processing. It is also used for identifying the new opportunities. When IBM deals with a Moderna, while they're doing the research on the mRNA, they identify the other possibilities, not only for the pandemic, other possibilities. Now they're working on the cancer, curing the cancer. What can we do a molecule? How can we get a hold of the molecule which can cure the cancer for the human body? We are doing the research right now. So it gives opportunity, immense opportunity for us to identify new opportunities using quantum technology because the time chain is very different. So by this, I will end my topic. If you have any questions, please share. Thank you so much.
Actually, we got to see the real use cases of quantum. Until now, I was thinking, how is this even used? How is it used? Actually, we have here some users who are very soon going to work on this real-time logistics best route optimization use case. So now we have heard from many of our speakers. We will now get to a quick game quiz session, which I will call Anita. She is the AI solution architecture at Cirq, specializing in cloud native enterprise systems with generative AI and AI and AWS community builds. So I will welcome Anita to please take the stage and more help and shake some neurons in the brain. Thank you, Smriti. And so I'm welcoming you all for this session. And I know this is something rare, right, in the quantum world, and we are entering to it, isn't it? So please scan this QR code. We will start a bit of quiz to refresh our mind. Wait, yes.
Yeah, just. Let them scan it. Let them scan it.
So hope you all logged it.
All done?
Yeah? Okay.
And this.
So,
Oh, okay. That's my first question. First question that I
okay. Okay, I can see your answers now itself. So yeah, now our brain is in a superposed mode, right? Now we know about how the quantum computing works, and we are going to be a frontier of this new technology. And I can see fully entangled and energized. That's really good. And if your brain is still oscillating with whether it is genius or the glitch, it's the correct state, I would say, because it's a developer mindset, isn't it? That's how the curiosity comes and you start learning new technologies, isn't it? Next slide will continue because, yeah. So what is the one industry where both AI and quantum could transform decision making? Healthcare and drug discovery, or finance services and risk modeling, supply chain and logistics, or energy and climate modeling. So, anyways, yes. Okay. Hope we all landed, but yes, this is what I'm expecting. But supply chain and logistics is fine, but energy and climate modeling, healthcare and drug industry will get a massive amount of data. Those are the two industries. I was thinking that these two will give a good graph. That's totally fine, but yeah, because this will give us, it will feed a lot of data, and we need to spin up this server like to simulate the ecosystem. If we are using quantum, it will take a couple of minutes. How excited is this, isn't it? If those kind of technologies will come into this, then imagine it, we have that our imagination will become limited, right? These are going to be a breakthrough, and yes, and I am happy with seeing that healthcare and health story as well.
But why not financial services?
So financial services, see, compared to financial services, you would say that healthcare and discovery would be the optimum, and then energy and climate, because those are the things which is going to give a massive data set. We'll go to the next question. Okay. A qubit can be both 0 and 1 at the same time. Is that true or false?
We have one false. All true. I think everybody understood quantum.
Yeah. We are so happy that everyone understood the quantum. It's true.
But there are two false. Who is that?
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. See, it's true. Because that's
that
what the
Shruti?
quantum.
False is Shruti, one more false.
Sometimes they could be possibility. It's all about possibility.
Come on, 0 and 1. That is the superposition we used to say, right?
It could be false sometimes. At parallel, it could be.
Oh, that guy understood quantum well.
Okay.
What do we say? What is quantum?
Now, as per the father of quantum, he said, whoever thinks they understood the quantum, they have not understood actually.
That's right.
So,
That's nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Quantum computers will replace classical computers for all the tasks in future.
For all.
Yes, for all the tasks. Yeah, for all use cases, for all the tasks, and everything.
No, false.
Come on.
These were false, right?
Yeah. See, I heard that many
Who's
people
that
were speaking, right?
1950s, you cannot afford classical computer also. Yeah.
No. We have listened to talks and all. Yes, quantum computer, we are not going to completely replace the classical, because we are going to implement quantum where it is really, really necessary. Because there are many use cases which is not required quantum. For now also, we have done the migration, right? I have done so many migrations, but some companies doesn't require migration to the cloud, because they want a monolithic application that is enough for fulfill your requirements, right? So it's everywhere. It depends. It's applied.
But who are those two people? Who is that? Alvin? Optimistic.
Maybe it will be the next. Okay, next. This is important, right?
Yeah.
After these sessions, but remember, we have two more questions interesting debates there. But still, I want to ask this question. These few sessions which we completed, which skill or topic are you most curious to explore further?
UML, nobody is there for quantum machine learning.
What about UML, guys?
Artful.
Okay. So, what about UML? Anybody's ideas?
Quantum
Okay, so yeah, so quantum cryptography, I would say, quantum cryptography is really a good thing because that's the period we need the security in place in our system, right? So we started getting agentic AI, and there will be so many securities involved. For example, prompt injection is there, and we wherever you go, security always follows you. So we have to give the importance for that as well. And the quantum machine learning will be a wide because it's something which is going to breakthrough and game changer as well. Okay. I like the suggestions of real world. Everyone are curious where we can implement it, isn't it? Understand it. Okay. Thank you for participating. I'm so happy, our team, and I can say that everyone are happy here. So we'll go for the next session, and I guess it will be a break. Okay. So we'll restart our superposition mind and all. We'll come back with the energized. We'll be in the same position after half an hour. We are just serving for like at least 2 more minutes. Meanwhile, you can start a bit or meet people here, and you can just go around. It's fine. You don't have to. It's a break time.
And it's time for you to imagine some quantum print in some other universe.
Please come back after half an hour because we have a very exciting debate session where we will talk about porn again. And there is Chandra who is going to show us the lab that's like coding quantum.
Some people estimate that as soon as the mid-2030s, quantum computers could become available to the mainstream public. This would enable us to perform activities that are considered impossible today. Here are 9 quantum computer use cases that could greatly impact our lives. Number 1. Faster and more effective artificial intelligence. Quantum computers will transform the field of artificial intelligence since they're able to process vast amounts of data at unparalleled speeds and simulate neural networks of enormous sizes. For certain types of problems, especially the ones that involve optimization, quantum computers can calculate all solutions to those problems simultaneously instead of calculating each solution sequentially like classical computers would. Each of the solutions a quantum computer obtains could have a score associated with it. With all of this information up front, quantum computers can choose among all possible solutions and find the best answer significantly faster than a classical computer could. This could revolutionize machine learning and help us solve complex problems that were previously thought impossible. Additionally, quantum computing and artificial intelligence will continually reinforce each other and accelerate developments in both of those areas. Advances in deep learning will likely increase our understanding of quantum mechanics, while at the same time, fully realized quantum computers will likely surpass conventional computers in data pattern recognition and data classification. This could lead to virtual assistants that can detect emotions in your vocal patterns and adjust their tailored suggestions accordingly. And it could lead to non-playable video game characters that behave hyper-realistically and have the capability to carry nuanced conversations with you. According to McKinsey, we will likely start to see the benefits from this use case in the early 2030s. Number 2, batteries for electric cars that are more energy efficient. Electric vehicle batteries contain battery cells that exert electric energy by charging and discharging. Quantum computers could provide improvements in the areas of cellular simulation and the aging of battery cells. These improvements could lead to faster charge times in electric vehicles, which can drive considerably more miles between recharges. Number 3, development of new drugs. When scientists need to develop new drugs and chemicals, they often need to examine the exact structure of a molecule to determine its properties and understand how it might interact with other molecules. Unfortunately, even relatively small molecules are extremely difficult to model accurately using classical computers, since each atom interacts in complex ways with other atoms. Currently, it's almost impossible for today's computers to simulate basic molecules that have relatively few atoms. Quantum computers are well suited to tackle this problem, since the interactions of atoms within a molecule is itself a quantum system. In fact, experts believe that quantum computers will be able to model even the most complex molecules in our bodies. Every bit of progress in this direction will drive faster development of new drugs and other products, and potentially lead to transformative new cures. Using quantum computing, pharmaceutical companies could model larger and more complex molecules and better map interactions between a drug and its target patient, and reduce time and cost of development processes. This could lead to better diagnostics, medications, and vaccines that come sooner and more efficiently to the market. And it could lead to the discovery of new drugs for serious diseases such as cancer, Alzheimer's, and heart disease. According to McKinsey, we could start to see the benefits from this use case by the mid-2020s. Number 4, traffic optimization. Solving these problems with classical computing is a tedious, hit-and-miss process. The traveling salesman problem is an example of this type of problem. It aims to determine the shortest possible route between multiple cities, hitting each city once and returning to the starting point. This optimization problem is incredibly difficult for classical computers to handle. However, for a fully realized quantum computer, it's a cakewalk. Additionally, quantum computers could tackle routing challenges in real time by using live data from connected vehicles, containers and packages, roads and railways, warehouses, point-of-sale systems, and weather satellites. Number 5, the creation of new materials. IBM is using quantum computing to better understand the physical processes of nature, such as how matter behaves and interacts at the atomic and subatomic levels. This could lead to the creation of new materials for manufacturing. It could also help engineers design better plastics and computer chips. In the coming decades, quantum technology could help in the development of lighter and stronger materials for building automobiles, aircraft, and spacecraft. Number 6, financial modeling. According to McKinsey, the financial industry has potential to gain significant value from quantum computing by the mid-2030s. And Goldman Sachs recently announced that they could introduce quantum algorithms to price their financial instruments in as soon as the mid-2020s. Quantum computing and financial modeling are a match made in heaven thanks to their structural similarities. The entire financial market can be modeled as a quantum process. In fact, a great deal of research has focused specifically on quantum computing's potential to dramatically speed up and improve the Monte Carlo model, which gauges the probability of various outcomes and their corresponding risks. Quantum computers have the potential to sample data differently by testing more outcomes with higher precision in a fraction of the time. Quantum computing could also speed activities related to portfolio optimization, customer targeting, prediction modeling, credit scoring, and fraud detection. Number 7, cybersecurity. Since quantum computers can perform multiple calculations simultaneously, they have the potential to break any classical encryption system within the next 10 to 20 years. For example, it would take a classical computer 300 trillion years to break the 617 digits of the RSA 2048 standard for encryption. Based on our current trajectory, a fully working quantum computer in the 2030s could potentially achieve this in 10 seconds. This would be so effective at decryption that they could pose a national security risk to all developed nations. New quantum encryption technologies would be required to protect even our most basic online services. Scientists, as well as forward-thinking policymakers, are already working on quantum cryptography so that companies, governments, and citizens can protect their information. Number 8, weather forecasting. Quantum computing's method of simultaneous rather than sequential calculation will likely be successful in analyzing the enormously complex system of variables that is weather. Number 9, manufacturing processes. Quantum computing can help companies streamline operations and manufacturing processes by solving supply chain optimization problems, such as determining the availability and pricing of manufacturing components without interrupting multifaceted supply chains. It can also take large manufacturing data sets and identify which parts of a complex manufacturing process contributed to operational failures. For products like microchips, where this production process can have thousands of steps, quantum computing can have a significant impact. By 2030, the first quantum computers with 1 million qubits will emerge. To find out more about this, make sure to watch the video to the right about the future technology.
Ernst, my good man.
2 tins of the usual, Professor?
Indeed. And I would like you to meet my good friend and thorn in my scientific side, Dr. Niels Bohr.
Hello. An honor to meet you, sir.
Ernst, are you familiar with Heisenberg's uncertainty principle?
I can't say that I am, Professor.
Well, it states that the more accurately we measure the velocity of a particle, the less accurately we can measure its position in space.
So you know exactly how fast the thing is going?
Yes, but if we do, we cannot also know where that thing is. Does that sound logical to you?
No, sir.
Of course not. And according to my esteemed colleague, the particle does not exist at all until we observe it.
That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Exactly. Thank you, Ernst.
Shall we stop by your butcher's as well? Perhaps he has an opinion on the matter.
Ha ha ha. Very amusing.
Albert, the uncertainty principle works. It functions. And it allows us to make use of the quantum world.
The goal of scientific pursuit should not be merely to make use of the world around us. It should be to understand it, fundamentally. No matter what use it might have. Look out!
Just watch where you're going, please.
Why should I? Why should either of us? According to you, if that automobile was a particle, but we didn't see it, it wouldn't have been there at all. We would be perfectly safe.
Automobiles aren't subatomic particles, Albert.
Niels, it defies common sense that the rules which govern those things we can see do not apply to those we cannot. I will not turn off my brain simply because you've decided the matter is settled.
But if you don't start using your brain to observe what's right in front of you, you're going to get yourself killed.
Another way to think of the paired particles is to imagine a game of chance that's somehow rigged.
Suppose I had a pair of quantum dice. I put these two quantum dice in my little cup, throw them. I look at them, they show the same number, 6. I put them again in the cup, throw them again. Now they both show 3. I put them in again, throw again. Now they both show 1. Point now being, what I see here is, I see 2 random processes, namely each die showing some number, but these 2 random processes do the same. That's really mind-boggling.
How could 2 particles act in unison, even when they're separated from each other?
Essential to the EPR argument is that these particles can be separated at an arbitrary distance. One could be here at Princeton, one could be in the Andromeda galaxy. And yet, according to quantum mechanics, a choice to measure something here is somehow instantaneously affecting what could be said about this other particle. You can't go from Princeton to Andromeda instantly, and yet that, they argued, is what the equations of quantum mechanics seem to imply, and that, they said, so much the worse for quantum mechanics. The world simply can't operate that way.
In a sense, as it spins, the coin is both heads and tails. Similarly, the electron's wave of chance passes through both slits, 2 paths at the same time. Our coin then stops at heads. The ethereal wave of probability hits the screen and only then becomes a particle. The quantum world was unlike anything ever seen before. It's hard to overstate just how crazy this is.
Some people estimate that as soon as the mid-2030s, quantum computers could become available to the mainstream public. This would enable us to perform activities that are considered impossible today. Here are 9 quantum computer use cases that could greatly impact our lives. Number 1, faster and more effective artificial intelligence. Quantum computers will transform the field of artificial intelligence since they're able to process vast amounts of data at unparalleled speeds and simulate neural networks of enormous sizes. For certain types of problems, especially the ones that involve optimization, quantum computers can calculate all solutions to those problems simultaneously instead of calculating each solution sequentially like classical computers would. Each of the solutions a quantum computer obtains could have a score associated with it. With all of this information up front, quantum computers can choose among all possible solutions and find the best answer significantly faster than a classical computer could. This could revolutionize machine learning and help us solve complex problems that were previously thought impossible. Additionally, quantum computing and artificial intelligence will continually reinforce each other and accelerate developments in both of those areas. Advances in deep learning will likely increase our understanding of quantum mechanics, while at the same time, fully realized quantum computers will likely surpass conventional computers in data pattern recognition and data classification. This could lead to virtual assistants that can detect emotions in your vocal patterns and adjust their tailored suggestions accordingly. And it could lead to non-playable video game characters that behave hyper-realistically and have the capability to carry nuanced conversations with you. According to McKinsey, we will likely start to see the benefits from this use case in the early 2030s. Number 2, batteries for electric cars that are more energy efficient. Electric vehicle batteries contain battery cells that exert electric energy by charging and discharging. Quantum computers could provide improvements in the areas of cellular simulation and the aging of battery cells. These improvements could lead to faster charge times in electric vehicles, which can drive considerably more miles between recharges. Number 3, development of new drugs. When scientists need to develop new drugs and chemicals, they often need to examine the exact structure of a molecule to determine its properties and understand how it might interact with other molecules. Unfortunately, even relatively small molecules are extremely difficult to model accurately using classical computers, since each atom interacts in complex ways with other atoms. Currently, it's almost impossible for today's computers to simulate basic molecules that have relatively few atoms. Quantum computers are well suited to tackle this problem, since the interactions of atoms within a molecule is itself a quantum system. In fact, experts believe that quantum computers will be able to model even the most complex molecules in our bodies. Every bit of progress in this direction will drive faster development of new drugs and other products, and potentially lead to transformative new cures. Using quantum computing, pharmaceutical companies can model larger and more complex molecules and better map interactions between a drug and its target patient, and reduce time and cost of development processes. This could lead to better diagnostics, medications, and vaccines that come sooner and more efficiently to the market. And it could lead to the discovery of new drugs for serious diseases such as cancer, Alzheimer's, and heart disease. According to McKinsey, we could start to see the benefits from this use case by the mid-2020s. Number 4,
what would the world look like with a computer
Solving these problems with classical computing is a tedious, hit-and-miss process. The traveling salesman problem is an example of this type of problem. It aims to determine the shortest possible route between multiple cities, hitting each city once and returning to the starting point. This optimization problem is incredibly difficult for classical computers to handle. However, for a fully realized quantum computer, it's a cakewalk. Additionally, quantum computers could tackle routing challenges in real time by using live data from connected vehicles, containers and packages, roads and railways, warehouses, point-of-sale systems, and weather satellites. Number 5, the creation of new materials. IBM is using quantum computing to better understand the physical processes of nature, such as how matter behaves and interacts at the atomic and subatomic levels. This could lead to the creation of new materials for manufacturing. It could also help engineers design better plastics and computer chips. In the coming decades, quantum technology could help in the development of lighter and stronger materials for building automobiles, aircraft, and spacecraft. Number 6, financial modeling. According to McKinsey, the financial industry has potential to gain significant value from quantum computing by the mid-2030s. And Goldman Sachs recently announced that they could introduce quantum algorithms to price their financial instruments in as soon as the mid-2020s. Quantum computing and financial modeling are a match made in heaven thanks to their structural similarities. The entire financial market can be modeled as a quantum process. In fact, a great deal of research has focused specifically on quantum computing's potential to dramatically speed up and improve the Monte Carlo model, which gauges the probability of various outcomes and their corresponding risks. Quantum computers have the potential to sample data differently by testing more outcomes with higher precision in a fraction of the time. Quantum computing could also speed activities related to portfolio optimization, customer targeting, prediction modeling, credit scoring, and fraud detection. Number 7. Cybersecurity. Since quantum computers can perform multiple calculations simultaneously, they have the potential to break any classical encryption system within the next 10 to 20 years. For example, it would take a classical computer 300 trillion years to break the 617 digits of the RSA 2048 standard for encryption. Based on our current trajectory, a fully working quantum computer in the 2030s could potentially achieve this in 10 seconds. This would be so effective at decryption that they could pose a national security risk to all developed nations. New quantum encryption technologies would be required to protect even our most basic online services. Scientists, as well as forward-thinking policymakers, are already working on quantum cryptography so that companies, governments, and citizens can protect their information. Number 8. Weather forecasting. Quantum computing's method of simultaneous rather than sequential calculation will likely be successful in analyzing the enormously complex system of variables that is weather. Number 9. Manufacturing processes. Quantum computing can help companies streamline operations and manufacturing processes by solving supply chain optimization problems, such as determining the availability and pricing of manufacturing components without interrupting multifaceted supply chains. It can also take large manufacturing datasets and identify which parts of a complex manufacturing process contributed to operational failures. For products like microchips, where this production process can have thousands of steps, quantum computing can have a significant impact. By 2030, the first quantum computers with 1 million qubits will emerge. To find out more about this, make sure to watch the video to the right about the future technologies in the year 2030.
It could accurately model the laws of nature. What would the world look like with a computer that could accurately model the laws of nature? That's the promise of quantum computing, but there have always been limitations. Now is one of our longest running research projects. Our team at Microsoft has been able to take a subatomic particle that has only been theorized until now, and not only observe it, but control it, creating an entirely new material and a new architecture for quantum computing. One that can scale to millions of qubits on a single chip.
This is not a work of science, it's a work of science and art.
I gotta be honest, some of these ideas are a little science fiction sounding.
It will solve problems unsolvable by the combined power of all the world's compute today, and promises to revolutionize fields such as medicine, materials science, and our understanding of the natural world. Our first quantum processor based on this architecture is the Majorana 1. Yeah, I've always been fascinated with puzzles and challenges and a mixture of mathematics and computers. And so when I learned that there was this type of computer that didn't exist yet, but could solve problems that we couldn't solve with our digital, all of the computers we had, I was just fascinated. I wanted to learn, well, how can I help that computer be built?
Over the years, I ran into problems that I could not solve on the most powerful computers. But then over time, I realized, hey, I could solve that if I had a quantum computer. A laptop can solve a problem of 10 electrons. A supercomputer can solve a problem of 20 electrons. But no classical computer in the world can exactly solve the behavior of 30 or 40 or 50 electrons.
The number 30, 40, 50 electrons, those numbers are seemingly small, but require up to lifetime in the universe timescales to solve with all of the world's computers operating together. That's until you have a scaled quantum computer that can solve these problems efficiently.
These calculations are so complicated that then if the classical computer was as big as this entire planet, it would still not be able to compute it. just to give you a construct of scale. And a quantum computer can do it, and can do it very, very well.
At the core of a quantum computer are these qubits. Qubits are like our classical bits, right? These are essentially zeros and ones in a transistor. And we need the analog of that in quantum computing. The analog is a qubit, a quantum bit, that serves as that core information unit. It's where we store the information and then we process on those qubits to create computation and ultimately, get solutions back out. Now, there's many different ways, right, to create a qubit. The reason quantum computing has been so slow to progress is that the industry has been struggling with problems making qubits reliable and resistant to noise. Progress has been incremental.
The challenge is qubits are actually pretty delicate in general, so you need underlying qubits that are really stable. But you don't want that to come at a cost, because you don't want your underlying qubits to be really big. That's one way to make them more stable, is have them really big. But if they're really big and you're still going to need many of them, then how are you going to fit them all into your system? You don't want to deal with something the size of a warehouse. Then the second thing is you don't want the qubits end up being slow, right? Because if the price you pay for getting something stable is you have to go really slowly, then a computation that might take you a month ends up taking you a decade, and then it's not useful. People in the early days of computation used vacuum tubes, and then that technology, actually you could build very good computers with it, and then the transistor was invented, and the earliest transistors weren't necessarily that great, but it became clearer over time as the transistor developed and the integrated circuit developed that this was going to be the technology of the future. In that spirit that the first generation of qubits may not be what gets us to the next stage where we can really solve the kind of problems I was mentioning that are really important. And so we might need to invent a material and therefore a quantum processing unit that has the right properties. So for us, we want something that has some built-in level of error protection. And a lot of those ideas actually were explored in the context of software, of quantum error correcting codes, but you can actually build a lot of those ideas into hardware.
So the way you design that qubit matters. We see the states of matter every day. Solids keep their shape, liquids vary but keep their volume, gases expand to fill the space they're in, all defined ultimately by how their atoms behave. But what if there were more? What if, under the right conditions, you could engineer more? States that have only ever been theorized, that would change how subatomic particles actually behave? 100 years ago, mathematicians predicted one such new state of matter, the topological state. And since then, researchers have been looking for a very specific, very useful quasi-particle within it, the Majorana particle. Last year, we were able to observe it for the first time. And this year, we're able to control it and use its unique properties to build a topoconductor, a new type of semiconductor that operates also as a superconductor. With this material, we can build a whole new foundational architecture for our quantum computers, a topological core, allowing us to scale to not tens or hundreds of qubits on a chip, but millions, all in the palm of your hand.
Majorana's theory showed that mathematically it's possible to have a particle that is its own antiparticle. That means you can take two of these particles and you bring them together, and they could annihilate and there's nothing left. Or you could take two particles and you bring them together and you just have two particles. Sometimes it's nothing, the zero state, and sometimes it's the electron, the one state.
So it really has taken quite some thinking, right? Some time to design a device, design a chip that can enable measurement of this literally elusive particle. We've designed a chip that is able to measure the presence of Majorana. Majorana allows us to create a topological qubit. A topological qubit is reliable, small, and controllable. This solves the noise problem that creates errors in qubits. Now that we have these topological qubits, we're able to build an entirely new quantum architecture, the topological core, which can scale to 1 million topological qubits on a tiny chip.
Every single atom in this chip is placed purposefully. It is constructed from ground up. It is entirely a new state of matter. Think of us as building the picture by painting it atom by atom. In a regular chip, the computation is done using electrons. We don't use electrons for compute. We use Majorana's for computing. It's an entirely new particle. It's half.
Okay, I hope those snacks refueled your brains, because now we are going to see some more sessions, debate, and quantum computing lab Chandra is going to show us. But we just require 2 minutes time from you, because we are perfectly halfway of our event. So this is the time when you let us know how we are doing so far through the feedback. Please scan the QR code, and it will just take 2 to 3 minutes, and let us know how we are doing, and we'll then get into the next sessions.
Now I guess this is right, then turn this into the camera.
This camera is from yourself.
But
Okay, you need to show screen.
it's not a good idea.
You want to say something about You want to say something about the feedback?
Just mention, just give them.
I don't know what to do. I would request organizers to guide the audience if they can control.
Aslan.
Okay, I think we can get into the next session.
So can you turn this camera? This is exactly this. Yeah, it's I will do the lab.
Okay, now I would like to welcome Chandra, our quantum developer advocate. He is going to show us the quantum engine room. Don't worry, we don't have to code. We don't want to cover all of you in quantum engineering in like 15 minutes. But he'll show us some quantum computing using Cirq. Now I will give it to quantum engineer, show us some magic.
I will handle the mic.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Can I speak louder levels?
Yeah.
Because I have to handle the light.
Yeah.
Okay. So hey there. So let's ready to. I hope you are all ready to dive into the world of quantum simulation. So here, what we are going to do is, so we have discussed. We have seen the classical bits, which are 0 or 1, and we are also spoken about the quantum bits, the qubits. Okay. So I think by this time you would have confused a lot. So what are these? So now I'm gonna simulate. Basically, we will use the Python and then Google's quantum simulation Cirq. So using these libraries, we can simulate the quantum qubits. So that's what we are going to do, and we're going to see how these quantum bits works and how this is different than a 0 or 1, an isolated state to the continuous state. So that's what we're going to do. So let me share my screen one more time. Yeah. So this is within the Google Colab, we're just working out. So basically, to do this simulation, we need two types of libraries. One is Cirq, which is basic one, and then to simulate at an advanced level, so Google has come up with the quantum simulation Cirq. So let's install both the libraries first, and then this allow us to simulate the quantum machine or quantum circuit within the normal computer. So what we will try to do is, we will take two qubits. Like if you see a normal classical computer, you will have a transistor 1 and a transistor 2. You will add a logic to them, then it will become a one circuit. It could be AND gate or OR gate. Similar to that, we will take two qubits, qubit 0 and qubit 1, and then we will add a NOR gate or AND gate, and then we will simulate that and we'll see the result. As I think Prabhu has already mentioned, classical machines, the classical computers are scalar, whereas the quantum machines are vectors, and that's what we are going to see now. We will be able to see the output as a vector. So that's what we are going to simulate. So now I think our libraries has been imported with all the namespaces that you can see on the screen. So now the first simulation is a full state vector simulation. So if you see on screen, Q0 is qubit 1. Just imagine it as one transistor, just for your analogy. And you have the Q1, which is another transistor. So now, in spite of two diodes, we are taking only two qubits. And we are making a circuit. To make that quantum circuit, we have used Lin qubit method from the Cirq object. Okay. So, and once that is done, we just print the circuit first. Okay. First, let me execute this piece of code and we'll see. Now, if you see in this code, this is what the circuit we have built. One is Q0, other one is Q1, and in this we have added an Harmon gate, and here we have the NOR gate in the Q1. So now you can clearly see the first stage of circuit that we are able to build here. Normally in the classical computer, if you want to take this analogy, you will have one transistor PNP, another transistor PNP, you connect them with an AND gate. But here we have taken the Q0 and Q1, we have added two gates. Okay, so from here, this is a basic circuit, and from there we'll go to the next stage. We will look into the superposition as Prabhu has spoken, and also we do the simulation of the entanglement as well. So now if you see, this is our circuit, and what you see here is the measurements. Measurements are fundamentally used in classical computer, which is scalars. As this is not a binary one, 0 or 1, so our measurements are 0 here. Whereas if you see this, what as an output, what you got is an output vector. You see that? Output vector 0.707 and 00 is your first qubit, and this is another qubit, and this is the state. If you go back to the Einstein's and Niels Bohr discussion, until unless you see that quantum, until unless you see that particle, you don't know whether it is there or not. So the same thing, until unless it is executed, you don't get the state. And we got the state. And this is a one state where the data can be stored, or which can also be helpful in processing, like how AND gate or OR gate to do the logical operations. The same way, these vectors will help us to do the processing similar to the quantum, similar to the classical. But however, the fundamental difference is for the 2 qubits, if for the 2 bits, you have maximum how many states of operations have. If you take one transistor and another transistor, you will have 1 0 0 1 0 0 1 1. That's it. But this one, you will have unlimited states of operations, and this is one of them because it's a vector. It can have any position and it can have any state. So that's the fundamental difference, and that's what we have demonstrated here. If you see, so this is the basic circuit that we have built, and this is what the vector output we got for this one. Okay. Similarly, if you just want to see like all these vector operations, if you want to put it as a sample, like what else, I've just asked for the 10 repetitions, basically 10 states only I've asked, but you can get huge number of states. And if you take just 10 states, these are the 10 states we got with the 2 qubits. Okay, let's imagine how many states you will get with 2 bits, basically your 2 diodes, you will get only 4. But here we already got 10. If you ask more, it can provide. You can go deep dive. But the problem here is, as you're going into the more states, the error rate will also slightly increase. So that correction is the one presently IBM, Google, everybody is working to correct that error. Once that error correction is done, the quantum mission will is going to rule this world. Just wait for some time. So that's what. And then next case here, what we're going to do is we will just add a bit of measurement, basically the classical computing measurements to this. So in addition to the vector, we are just simulating the classical computing measurements also. It's the same circuit, but we are also converting this vector into the measurement so that we can take the analogy. We can just compare with the classical machine. So that's the reason. See, if you see, this is the circuit we have built as we have seen earlier, and we have added an additional component of measurement, which is a scalar. And so this is the circuit result we got. Completely converted this into a normal classical computing style. You see 1 0 0 1. That's how we see, right, in classical machines. The same way we have converted this. So far it is clear, I hope. Yeah, so the next thing that we are gonna see here is, as you all know, it's a dual nature of the electron. Even the electron, before when Einstein talked about the light, they said dual nature of particle, but now the electron itself has a dual nature. It has a particle as well as the wave nature. So now if it is a wave, it obviously should have an amplitude. So it will have an amplitude. So in quantum computing, the most important aspect is an amplitude stuff. So that is what, and we can even simulate that and calculate that amplitude aspect also. For that, what we need to use is just compute amplitude, and we'll be able to, and for this, I think if you remember, this is what the circuit we have built with the 2 qubits. And for the vector we got, and this is what the amplitude, this is what the amplitude that we got from there. And this is basically help us doing things like fast processing. This is very important. The amplitude aspect is very important for the fast processing of the quantum. As someone has already mentioned, for one route optimization for the entire United States of America, only for US, not for the entire world, it will take 10,000 years if you do it with a supercomputer from IBM. Means the fastest computer so far we have ever seen. If you use that computer and start the simulation today, right now at this moment, 12:37 GST, and it will take 10,000 years. After that, 12:38, after probably some 1,000 generations, after that they'll see the results. But this one can do it in 20 seconds. So that's the fundamental difference. How it's able to do, this is what is the reason. You see that? The vector that you see, this is the fundamental difference of handling the things from the scalar and then vector. I think if you, in 10th class, you would have studied the scalars and vectors, but you have never thought we would have discussed later. So that's about the amplitude aspect. And similarly, we can go one step ahead, and then I will show the, now we have seen only just 2 qubits, right? Now using this 2 qubit, we can make a machine, like how you will fuse few diodes together and you make a chip, right? The same way we can create a circuit of grid. So here we have used Q0 and Q1, and then we have created this particular circuit. It's like now we are getting into the chip stage. So we have talked about isolation of qubit, then 2 qubits. Now we have come to a stage of 2 qubits in as a connected as a grid with multiple logic gates, and that's what we have done it here, and this is how it looks. And now we are already in a stage to build a basic machine. Of course, it's all simulation, but this is how it actually works in reality. I'm just trying to show an analogy between 2 diodes and then 2 qubits. Now here the qubit can be an electron directly, an atom directly, or a fuse of 2 particular semiconductors also. It could be anything. There are different types of computing machines. There are superconducting computing machine, which is quantum. So that is different. And there is an electron state computing machine. Means every electron will be a qubit. So that's, but when you connect all those things as a circuit, and it's gonna make wonders. So at the end, we have just, after executing this qubit as a single grid, so we are just trying to present them in a multi-dimension. Again, this comes to the point of Dr. Kiran Naidu. The AI, when it comes to the AI, you need to deal with a high-dimensional data. So you have a problem with dealing high-dimensional data. We call it as dimensionality curse. So then again, we will convert that into a different one using kernel trick. That's a complex topic to understand, the kernel trick. Okay. Now, this will allow us to do any high-dimensional data with the utmost details. So that's the power of this quantum machine, and that's how it will be useful for AI specifically. And this is specific to the each dimension. We can grab it, and at the end, we're just showing the result. So this is the final high-dimensional vector that we can get from a 2 qubits with a 4 circuit grid. Okay, 2 qubits, and we are putting them into a circuit grid 0, 0, 1, 1, just a 4 circuit grid arrangement, and you got this level of dimension. Just imagine if you use 32 qubit. From 32 bit, we change to 32 qubit, it would be a magic. So that's what the simulation here. I hope you understood. So now, if you have any questions, we can take it up before we move to the crazy debate, the hype versus reality.
Any questions?
Any questions? I hope you have seen the qubits. It would have made more understanding.
I mean, it's not to grasp at this moment, but we understand the basic concept.
Yeah.
From bits to qubits,
Yes.
things will change. And that's the main logic of quantum. That to increase the number of simulations, to increase the number of possibilities that we need in current scenario of some industries and some use cases, the number of simulations and the dimensions of the data, this is the requirement, and this is what the future is going to show us. Now, Chandra, should I proceed?
Yes. Do you have any questions?
Any other questions?
Anything, like anything related to quantum, even if it is detailed one, still it's fine.
Yeah, we can take him home if you want to get the answers, because he has quite interesting insights. I had a chance to sit with him yesterday, and I got like a lot of information from him. So we can also have like a Q&A in the end if you don't want to ask now. I will move further to the debate, the great debate. That's what we call it. Yeah.
Yes.
How you simulated qubits here? Because you are still working on traditional.
The machine, that's what it's basically the simulation library. whatever the fundamental logic that we use. Like for example, this is from the Google. So Google works on, for them each electron is a qubit. Okay, so based on their logic, the quantum machine they are building, so based on that they have created a library with Python. So whatever we see is a complete simulation of the Google's quantum machine's logic, but it won't be similar as IBM, as any other. Microsoft is also coming up when it is not same, because they are working with a different types of ways. Like initially when we have started working building on classical machines, there is a huge amount of research on semiconductors. So different people are working on different types of combination of chips. The same way the research is going on to build an hardware, so different people are building a different types of hardware. So Google's is this, and whereas IBM is working on a different type of one. There's a superconducting. So you just take your metal, the element to a superconducting stage, and it will completely behave in a different way as a quantum electron. So that's one. And there are different ways similar to this.
Any other questions? Will you get the answer? Okay, then we have learned about AI hitting the walls and quantum computing doing impossible things, and real applications also we have seen what currently is being used. But there is a million-dollar question still that we haven't answered. Is quantum AI the real deal, or is it just the hype that we are all gushing over? Now it's time to find out through our moderator in the debate. So moderating this intellectual cage match, we have Ashia Nouri, who is the UAE AI-based educator and technologist, blending engineering, research, and fostering AI and cyber awareness. So I will call Nouri, and we have one corner, we will have the pro-convergence, or Dr. Dilshad Ahmed, passionate researcher and innovator, working at the intersection of AI, advanced materials and aerospace. Dilshad Ahmed, we have. Okay.
Inspire Prabhu.
And then we have Dr. Kiran Naidu in the pro side. Please. Our AI architect blends real life world impact with AI. And in the other corner, we have skeptics and realists, the pragmatist Swapnil Banwal, our global cloud infrastructure and automation architect, with over 13 years of experience designing secure, scalable, and AI-powered solutions across industries. Then we have Amar Kodina, who has 12 plus years of experience, hands-on IT experience on hardware, and will tell us how the hardware we need to set up really support this. And we would like to call Mr. Prabhu Ramaswamy in the pro side, support the future.
Yeah.
Okay, I will give the mic to Ashia to bring over.
Thank you, Smriti. I hope I'm audible from this last end to the audience. We are going to use without our mics as 5 of them. Right.
Let's see who wins today.
So we'll be leaving to the audience whether to decide who is on the pro side and who is on the against. There are two teams, as you can see, you have to decide. One team is named as pro convergence, who are supporting the fact they are having a positive, like in the positive view towards the future, and the other team are exactly living in the present, like with dealing with the realist situation of the case, right? So we'll be first with the first question comes is quantum AI the next revolutionary step, or we can say leap in technology, or it's just a overhyped situation? So we can start with Mr. Kiran with this.
Okay, so in my opinion, it is not any more hype. The reason is, if you remember our session, so we already see multiple examples, right? IBM, how it coordinated with quantum computing, with the model DHL. So there are real examples and real business cases are already deployed and working in condition. So it's no more, I would really say it's no more hype. It is working in the market.
So you think it is not a hype? You think it is like in the actually the situation which is going on. So
Currently, actual situation, yes, we can confidently say that.
Yeah.
But it is not spread as much as we can see. We are all learners, including myself as a learners. But in the future, definitely we are going to see everywhere.
But it is still now you think like it is in the experimental stage and all the industries are not well aware of it and they are not adaptable with the situation. Right. On this, if we can ask Mr. Raman what will be your say in this?
Considering today, yes, AI has evolved. Uh, Considering today, AI has evolved a lot, and it is into everybody's daily life today. We,
Okay, just speak up.
Currently, we are living in an age where AI has evolved a lot in everybody's life. So, be it WhatsApp or be it anything. So, quantum is tomorrow. Yes, I agree that quantum has evolved a lot, but still we have to admit the fact that it is technology for tomorrow, where current advantages are only in medical or in space expeditions. But considering today's business cases, yes, AI. Yeah, I'm with the classic.
So you are like still want to follow the classical.
Yes.
Like not with not giving much importance to the
For tomorrow.
For tomorrow. You're still in the realistic. Okay. So next, if we go to the another question, which is the news of this full hype that is going on, or the excitement that is going on within among us with the term quantum AI. And so, how do you separate this genuine breakthroughs that is happening in current scenario, and what might be just, or it just might be a science fiction kind of term? So, in that case, what is your opinion? We'll start with something.
Okay, so when we see these dazzling news headlines about quantum AI, so it's something like we are seeing fascinating car in a high-tech lab, and which is still not capable of actually drive on the road. So I would relate to that example, and we have seen Google's quantum supremacy, which was claimed in 2019, right? So Google claimed it in 2019, and we are in 25 now. It is 6 years. Still, Google is working on addressing the physical part of it, physics of it. Like still, they are developing chips which are based on So what I want to say is, it's okay to be optimistic on this part. We are those views and guidelines are really exciting to hear. We are very passionate about the future innovation. At the same time, we have to be realistic when we have to see what is the ground level breakthroughs which are happening behind those news. So my stand would be, let's be realistic on that front and let's see what exactly is happening on the physical engineering part of it. That's what.
Okay, so that is your opinion. So in the same front, if we can go with the question with Mr. Prabhu, what do you think? What is your opinion in this?
So if you see that person does, so whatever we use, whatever we do, everything comes from fiction, from fiction to reality, right? So everything is imagination. So 10 years back, we were imagining something, right? So we never imagined there's automated cars. So automated car which is driving on the road 15 years back. But the invention for the software. But we are not living for this current today's world, right? So the picture is coming to reality in one period of time. So it is for the humanity. It is for the society, not for us, not for today. So that is the evaluation. The evaluation happening over the period of several generations, right? And the industrial revolution, whatever the extent, right? So it will come to the practice. So when it attains the maturity. So when it attains the maturity, that is up to the further development, funding, and everything. So funding is different part. So how much we are taking it up further. So when we are talking about the possibilities of endless, we are talking about endless opportunities with the fiction, right? So with the imagination. So we never considered when IBM, when Nokia 8080 model comes in. So by the time we never think about a smartphone. It is about 15 years. So now we are talking about quantum. It may come in 15 years, but looking at the need of faster need of the society and other things that it may come soon. So we do not know that, but my perspective it will come soon. It is not not more efficient or not more.
Right. So if you don't think it is a hype, we should have a vision or
Right.
design we can reach the like
Yes.
possibility of happening with currently, right?
Yes.
So in the same context, if we go for that, there's another term with machine learning associated again, quantum machine learning, which is already like outperforming the classical systems, classical computers. So is that a theoretical term, or you can think it's already a promise? Mr. Kiran?
Classical machine learning or the deep learning models when we develop it, right? So the business cases standpoint, if I'm dealing with a business case where it's only serving one company or a couple of other customers, the data is very small, then we really don't need to go with the quantum. However, when we talk about the massive data, trillions of data, and we're dealing with this, even including the machine learning, it fails a lot. We cannot even execute the models. At that stage, quantum computers are really helpful to execute a model point of view. The same example, if you really remember, the IBM Moderna, the mRNA, it's a classical deep learning model they have developed to execute. If they use the same classical machine learning or the deep learning algorithms, it takes years of data, years of time to run the optimization. But using that quantum computing, they have delivered it within a fraction of, I would say, months time at least. So they used the 80 units to deliver this model. Otherwise, we would have got this particular method. So, if we would not have this quantum computing at that stage, we would have got the medicine after a couple of years. And just imagine how many people are going to suffer because of it. So quantum computing is always useful when it needs either business case, healthcare, or the space research. So we don't have that much of time to execute it so that we can use this faster processing.
So yeah, so obviously in that case we can follow that we are not in a like theoretical process, but we can think it as a future process as well. So we have seen the tech winters that is coming, like we have seen it before in AI generation also. That is the stagnant phase we can say where there is no progress or no growth in the prosperity in the terms of innovations. So the same way, tech winter can be like we can continue, we can consider it for quantum computing as well. So before promising technologies will not live up to the hype, and like which has lost funding into it after one certain period of time. So is quantum winter a real threat? What do you think? If it's not so, then what's the most important thing we need to do? Like, if not to consider it as a threat. So we can ask Mr. Swapnil with this. What do you think?
Yeah, of course, we need to be cautious with this quantum winter kind of things because our history says we have experienced this with multiple technology evolutions. For example, if you see the first computer by IBM, by Watson, which he declared to be a computer of five computers of world, right? So, but eventually it took time to come to the situation where semiconductors were introduced, in 1964, where Moore's law actually addressed the classical computing challenge, right? And there what classical computing evolved. So the claim by Watson in 1964 was so premature claim, I would say. And this is what happened in eventually, the down interest of the people in this similar technology. What happened in internet also when actually it was, evolved in 1980. That time, Bill Gates, started claiming that it is useful technology. But eventually, it takes almost a decade to be, actual use from browser to start using internet, right? So there is a period to get those technologies mature and evolve. So there is always risk of this quantum winter, and to avoid this, of course, there are some measures. So we should highly invest on actual research, actual fixing those decoherence issues, and actually forming our physical qubits, so that we can do further enhancement rather than commercialization of this technology as on today to ask people to start using quantum because it is not at that stage, right? Still, many of the things are getting evolved in classical computing and classical AI, which you are actually using. And so, I'm not against a dismissal of quantum technology, But yes, we need to understand the pros and cons of this, and we have to be patient to get it mature, and just of course to be cautious about the fundamental part of it, because it is more or less decade or 2 decade away from here.
Okay, on the same question, if you have any contradictory answers to this,
Yeah. So from my perception, so the quantum can be bring in parallel, the parallel traffic is not there. And proper identification of use cases, where exactly it is going to be. For example, the molecule science, molecules, for distinction and traffic management problem. Where the solution is operating on multi-dimensional data. So identifying the proper use cases and the new investment only on a specific area will boom the usage of the technology. So till then it can work in parallel. So I think by this way we can.
right. So as so we can come up with the same question. If we say that will quantum AI solve problems as classical AI is solving right now? Obviously, our scenario will be like having different opinions in this. Till now, what we see, what are our it's the advantages that we are seeing in the future. It's only just exaggerated or like overhyped, like the same thing. What in that case, Mr. Kiran, what will be your opinion? With classical computer, what classical AI is doing, like from generative AI or agentic AI, right now which stage we have left, or it will be obviously it will overpower it, like quantum computing.
Okay, so to make it in a very short statement, to train a GPT model, any large language model, using a classical system, I think the first session was talking about it takes ages. Right? It takes very good amount of time to train any large language model, even including the specimen as well. But if we use the same architecture, but technology will be a quantum, it will be a lightning perspective. As we mentioned, quantum is not only for the speeding, it also gives you immense of other opportunities for us. So classical, whatever we are doing, we can also execute it. Again, the very important concept here is to choose the business case. Each and every business case, we don't need to run for quantum. Classical will be always better and suitable, and which is accessible for each and usage for each and every person. But when we are dealing with this kind of passive data, quantum is always the better choice in the future.
As right now we are not in a situation to say that it will totally overpower, but in some industry you think that it is already overpowering the like classical AI.
As per my knowledge and my observation, yeah, that is true. It cannot quantum cannot take the classical modeling because the maintenance is very expensive. Each and every company cannot afford the quantum servers. You are explaining about to maintain a server, we need to maintain less than 180 degrees something. So who will maintain that very expensive? So classical systems always will be there, which is a super affordable for each and every user. But when we are talking about these chains, like IBM and all, so they have to use it, they can use it in the future, but not with each and every business case.
What will be your say to this?
I agree. Every technological evolution happened after a problem. So, with reference to any problem, how the technology helps.
Which actually
today's use cases are like AI is helping a lot, as you have said, like traffic systems and so many other.
Yeah, which actually complement the realistic part of it, and where everyone is agreeing, right? So we have to be real on those fronts
So it's not exaggerated, but we can say it's true. Like whatever we are hearing and we are considering it to overpower the general or classical artificial intelligence, it will definitely do at one point.
It has proven its power in the labs for sure, right? But to have it, on the real world use cases, to is commonly used across the world, there is time. So that's what we are talking about. We are in situation, it's not a mature, and it needs.
The use case of quantum can be like until and unless it is solving a major problem, we can say it's tomorrow's technology. So we can still stick with the classic AI technologies where it is solving so many problems right now.
There are some examples Dr. Kiran have mentioned during presentation in the drug industry specifically during COVID time. Yeah, but those were experimented that time to have some, but those are not yet widely used across the world to produce medicine or drugs, right? So that's what the transition time is still there, or another breakthrough is going to happen because again we are lacking on the physical part of it, physics part of it. So therefore the huge breakthroughs we need to have.
So especially in the drug industry, we have already seen the outcomes.
Yeah.
So, definitely it will be showing in different industries as well. Like in part of encryption as well, we have seen like quantum computing playing a major role, like because the processing time obviously drastically affects between the classical model and the quantum computing. Right? So many people imagine quantum computers will soon be our in our pockets. Like we can use it in our day-to-day life, and like as we are using a generative artificial intelligence. In that case, so should we start creating our desk and remove the classical scenario to get ready with a quantum quantum system, or it's like already in our foreseeable future? In that case, what will be your opinion?
I think this is very fascinating picture. We very soon, maybe next year, we have our mobiles with the quantum chips. It's good to imagine these kind of pictures. But to be honest, I mean there is a power for quantum computing and quantum AI. The point is we are not going to hire architecture people just to do support level job, right? It's same thing like we cannot have a quantum computer to do just a basic job at our home, like fixing our process or something. So there is the difference. Like our opposite panelists also mentioned that there will be separate use cases or the specified use cases for the quantum AI to address to, not all in the world, right? So that's what our target is as as a realist or as a researchers, we should move into that direction. And let's not clear desk as of now for these phones, and let's wait for them. That will be my stand. Let's leave it.
So what about you? How much time do you think, Mr. Prabhu, according to this, they are not ready to clear the desk yet?
Not yet. I'm not saying no, but not yet.
What's the widespread usage of quantum function in the picture? So seeing the accuracy, seeing the different possibilities for the use cases, whatever are thought so far. By the time people start replacing that. But with the time, instead of thinking quantum centric enterprise, we say hybrid quantum enterprise. So that's what the future. Eventually, it will the devices which is supporting the quantum computing. So when we thought about when we are thinking about IoT, now after the evolution of AI, we are talking about AI over there. So it is evolved. So similar way, this also will evolve on period of time.
So you are still hopeful that we should be ready to like replace the actual. In that way, you're saying that, or it will be taking time.
They don't come tomorrow, but we don't think that
It
four
will definitely
or five generations on it will come as soon as maybe through a couple of years.
So at last, we can say the concluding remarks from I think one side. What do you think? Like, we have seen that.
I have one question.
Yes, please, you can go ahead.
So let's imagine after 50, 60 years or 70 years, okay, because of the quantum machines and quantum computing, and we also got the quantum teleporting that you have spoken. Okay? So you are able to communicate with the external universe beings. That's magic. That day, can you use the same mobile? Probably you have to use the quantum machine to communicate with them. Probably everybody will have the quantum machine. Just imagine.
That's the key.
Yeah, actually, in this scenario, it's something like it's an exceptional case. So we talked 10 years before, like video conferencing and all these systems were highly important. It was like a costly thing, and today it's like it's in everybody's pocket. So it's this answers your question. So if we are talking about 20, 30 years, then let's hope every hardware or let's say the MLM or the ChatGPT or all the stuff.
Because
it implements the quantum, it takes over the quantum technology.
So basically, you are like hoping towards you're like having a view which is
eventually we have to
accept it.
I have one interesting comment on this. So
Yeah.
now we are referring quantum computing plus AI as a quantum AI.
Yeah.
But still, I have that dicey situation. Why should we call it AI? It would be even something other than
Yes.
AI. Right? That's what I mean. I'm not sure if the audience agrees on that. It was the artificial intelligence because it used to imitate what humans do. quantum computing, what promises you beyond what human can do, right? So I would say not even AI, something new will come, and that's the breakthroughs we are waiting for in the next year.
How
So-
this from
so-
status.
Yeah, please.
Actually, one of the cases I see that when Google says it attained quantum supremacy by producing the combination of dynamic numbers, right? So it will take several years, and Google IBM said it can be done in 2.5 days or something. So similar cases, not similar cases. NASA has declared it attained supremacy. So if we take the use case of NASA, what may they have done? They may not try to generate the random numbers. Even they have not taken a scenario which he is referring to, thinking outside of there. So, also I have seen that one of the countries explored transmit from the technology program. So through the light pi and laser rays they have exchanged the data. So this is not for use right now in any consulting companies. But one case, and one scenario comes in where we are thinking. That's what I said. It's beyond imagination. Not unique of right now. But in future, maybe useful for your son or son-in-law.
That's an interesting point. That's the key point you made now.
So that's a very generic question for everyone here sitting in the audience as well. So what do you believe that in the next decade, not 10 years, what do we see after the next five years? Is it like still in a phase of situation where we can consider that it will be available for our day, like in our general purpose quantum computing? What do you think in that case? After 5 years from now?
If we see the current situation, right? In the last 2 years, 2021, 2022, 2022 onwards, you see the drastic grip in AI. Before we used to use a classical machine learning and deep learning algorithms. Now each and every one we have started using agents, agentic agents, etc. Right? And the moment we are talking here now, I'm 100% sure some guy will inventing some new concept or a new algorithm, whatever. So it's evolving very fast. We never see. I started the career in 2003. From 2003 to 2021 is one age. From 21 to now is a second age. I really see the difference between the AI, the drift here. So, imagining after 5 years, quantum is going to come here. By considering these circumstances, yes, I would say it will come. Because right now, what I can say, the big war between the companies, who will bring who will create the large language model faster, accuracy. Each and every country is coming up with their own LLMs. UAE, they have their own LLM. Saudi, they're creating one LLM. Bahrain, they're creating. Kuwait is creating. Right now, we are all in the war in terms of the creating LLM. The second stage is accuracy. That's what the one is also going on. So, how the accuracy of GPT versus the other LLMs. The third definitely will come in the speed of access. When you want to execute at very speed of access, you cannot use a normal computers. How we are using right now, the big servers, highly consumption of the electricity, water, etc. Then we might move to the quantum.
So we have already heard about from the panelists. It's obviously an open-ended question from both the ends. We have seen which will the discussion will go on. But if we go to the audience, like if we need to, as a closed-ended question, what do you feel that after 5 years it will be a yes or no? So from audience, how many of you think it is? Raise your hands. Those who think it will be like definitely be in our use after 5 years, not only decades. After 5 years, we are going to use it, like we are using the classical model. One person. How many of you agree with this? After 5 years, definitely. So we are hopeful. Others are definitely there are no's as well. Those are not raising their hands. Okay, with this, I think we can conclude our debate.
Others are hopeful, but at the same time are realistic.
Yes, realistic.
And thank you for being on our side.
But we have like more people in the optimistic side as well.
Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for the quite an interesting debate. I'll just, because we have seen how powerful it is, and some people also agree that in the next 5 years we are going to use it, hopefully, for some use cases, not for all, and I agree in that case. I would like to call upon Dr. Vikram Narendra, Narendran. He will be connecting from US. He's a system-driven technologist with a doctorate in AI-driven inventory optimization and a rich academic background from BITS, Pilani, and Purdue. He will be showing us and telling us he'll be asking the big questions. How do we keep it secure? How do we make sure that AI decisions are fair when they are powered by quantum systems? Because it's getting so powerful, we need to know how we build responsibly with the AI quantum.
Dr. Vikram, is it audible?
Hello.
Yes, you are audible. So he's supposed to fly to Dubai, but unfortunately he was attending from US. Yeah, Vikram, so you can continue.
So are you going to share the slides with me, Chandra, or do I need to share the slides?
So is my screen visible to you? Just a minute, I have slides. Is it visible to you?
Just give me a second, please. Yeah, it's visible.
Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
Give me a second, please. Good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to speak with you today about a topic that is not just critical, but genuinely important for the future of aviation, the imperative of artificial intelligence governance. As an industry, we stand at the cusp of technological revolution where AI promises to redefine how we operate and how we ensure safety and even how we experience air travel. And as we look to the horizon, we must also consider the profound implication of quantum AI system. So let's explore how we can make sure all this technology helps us. Can you go to the next slide, please, Chandra? We're already in the next slide.
Yeah.
Can you go to the AI imperative in aviation, please? The previous slide.
Yes.
Okay, the AI is changing how aviation works today. It helps airlines fly better flight routes that save fuel because you have fuel efficiency, keeps airplanes flying for longer by spotting issues before they happen, which is your predictive maintenance, and improves air traffic management to reduce flight delays. Passengers are also seeing the benefits with faster check-ins, more personalized services, and smoother security process. Most importantly, AI plays a key role in improving safety and reducing risks. Also, in emergency, it can support pilots by offering smart suggestions and helping them make fast and confident decisions. Can you go to the next slide, please, Chandra? The governance gap, why it matters. AI is changing the game in ways we have never imagined, be it with this progress, but with this progress, there is a catch. Technology is moving at a breathtaking pace, so it is tough to keep the rules and safety checks up to speed. When AI isn't carefully monitored, it can make mistakes, show biases, or operate in ways we don't fully understand. In aviation, where safety is of paramount importance, we can't afford that kind of uncertainty. That's why it's absolutely necessary to have strong AI governance in place with clear guidelines to make sure innovation never comes at the cost of safety. Can you please go to the next slide? So I want to share my real world experience, my RAG based model. To truly underscore this point on safety and the absolute necessity for robust governance, allow me to share a real world experience from my own research. I built an AI system using RAG based model. Using Google Gemini, to help pilots during emergency. Normally, what happens is they flip through a manual called as Quick Reference Hand Guide, which is QRH. So, just in say that you have a single engine failure, they would flip through the manual and find this quick engine failure. But with my RAG based model, it instantly pulls it up right from the checklist, and I also integrated a voice based command so fast for faster and easier retrieval of the QRH. So this significantly reduces the pilot time. Okay, but we cannot test it on a real aircraft. So we tested it on a high fidelity full flight Boeing 777 simulator where we were replicating various emergency scenarios. The results showed that the search based retrieval was working well, while the voice based command was inconsistent. Now imagine the implications of this in a real cockpit. Under immense stress with engine noise, communication from the air traffic control, an unreliable voice command could be catastrophic. That is why, the governance is very important. It highlights why rigorous testing, understanding AI's limitation, and establishing clear governance frameworks are not just good practices, but absolute necessities in aviation. Can you please go to the next slide, Chandra?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the same slide, please. Robust safety assurance and certification. So the key points here is I would like to harp upon the explainable AI. Understanding why AI makes a decision. AI should understand why it is making a decision. In aviation, that is very critical. We cannot simply follow instructions blindly. If an AI recommends a new route or an approach, we need to know the why behind it, especially when safety is at stake. We also need the AI to be reliable and robust. It should display the same behavior every time. We also need rigorous testing for the AI so that because the AI does not work like a regular software, it learns and it adapts. So rigorous testing needs to be done. At the end of the day, we need to understand AI is merely a tool. The pilot still remains in command. That's why regulators like FAA, EASA are open to accepting AI integration, but for them, safety comes first, innovation comes next. Can you go to the next slide, please, Chandra? So here is where I would like to come to pillar 2, which is data integrity and ethical AI. AI is, as we all know, AI is as smart as the data it learns from. So we need to make sure that the data is of high quality, trustworthy, and clearly tracked. Let me come to the example of my QRH model. It was critical that the AI gave pilots the right information without mistakes, guarding against hallucination and overgeneration. Because what happened was when I integrated the AI model, the RAG-based model, as you know, the Gemini tried to give over information because these are QRHs. So it needs to give the exact information. That is where I had to retune the model many times so that it extracts the right information, nothing less, nothing more. So in ethical AI, we have to consider bias mitigation. AI should be fair, no bias based on race, gender, or background. In aviation, it must understand voice commands accurately, even under step. I had a lot of problems, because being a non-native English speaker, tuning the model for accurate voice command was a big task for me. So this is of paramount importance. The AI which we build should be bias free. And AI is just a support tool. I would like to reiterate. It should never replace the pilot. The human element in decision making is irreplaceable, especially when hundreds of lives are at stake. Now, finally, the responsibility should be clear. If something goes wrong, we need to know who's responsible. Is it the AI or the person using the AI? So that is why, can you please go to the next slide, please? So that is why I want to introduce the Rogers Narendran Nielsen framework. These foundation pillars guided me towards a central idea that I uncovered through my research. I believe a one-size-fits-all to AI governance simply won't work in an industry as dynamic as the aviation. We should create custom guidelines that match the level of risk involved. As technology keeps evolving, rules need to grow and adapt so that safety and innovation stay balanced. So that is why I propose the Rogers Narendran Nielsen's framework for AI governance. It's not just about organizing AI by type, but it looks at AI through three key lenses: the Rogers lens, the Narendran's lens, and the Nielsen's lens. So the first layer, which is the Rogers diffusion principles, it helps us understand how new ideas and technologies, including AI systems and our governance approaches, can be adopted in the global aviation industry. Okay, so what is the Rogers principle? It hinges on five key attributes. One is the relative advantage. So the QRH system, let's take that example, which we built, the RAG-based emergency assistant. Is it better than the traditional QRH? In our case, it is better, but it needs more testing. Compatibility. Does it align with the aviation core values? For RAG models, it must be compatible with the pilot workflow with a strong emphasis on safety. Complexity. Is the model simple enough or complex enough for the pilot to understand? But when it comes to quantum AI, trying to explain how it works to the pilot could be a massive challenge due to its complexity. And finally, and triability. So the Rogers also talks something about triability. Can it be tested safely? Our RAG-based model simulated testing is a perfect example because we cannot test it on a real aircraft. So for quantum AI, safe triability is much harder due to its cost and specialized requirements, limiting early adoption. And finally, what Rogers says is about the observability. Are the benefits clearly visible? For the RAG-based model, simulation proof it leads to quicker responses in emergency. But with quantum AI, the benefits are theoretical right now, as it is in its nascent stage. So it will be important to show real-world results, before people could actually accept quantum AI computing. Now, if you go to the layer 2 of our proposed framework, which I would like to call it Narendran's criticality tiers. The tier 1, I classify it into two tiers: tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 is critical operation, where AI governance demands maximum scrutiny. These are AI systems where a failure, an error, or a malicious attack could directly lead to loss of life, injury, and can cause catastrophic damage. Okay, let's take my rack base as example. If it is not used properly, it could be catastrophic. The other example which I can think of, which could be classified under tier 1 from an aviation per se, is AI in autonomous flight systems, AI in air traffic decision support, and AI in predictive maintenance, such as anticipating failures in an engine or a flight control surface. For high-stake tier 1 tasks, we need the strictest safety standards and the highest level of governance with full transparency. But let's take about tier 2 tasks like ticketing or pricing. These systems are not, it's not catastrophic. Failure will lead to minor delays. This is where quantum AI can be used, because though quantum AI is too complex and expensive for tier 2 tasks, but it is very good for trial runs. And basically, testing it on critical tasks, it's better to test it on non-critical tasks rather than critical tasks. So this makes it a smart place to prepare quantum AI for bigger and riskier roles. And finally, the third phase of my network, of my framework, which is the Nielsen's human-centric design, based on Nielsen's heuristic principle, so which gives user an escape route. Let's revisit my RAG-based model. When the AI voice command fails, what is the escape route the pilot has? It should be a traditional QRH. So for tier 1, what about AI in autonomous flight? It means ensuring that pilot immediately gets access to manual flight control. They cannot simply depend upon AI. You should always have an escape route. That's what Jacob Nielsen says. And the principle also demands validity of system status. AI must clearly communicate its operating state and failures. Now, can you please go to the next slide?
Dr. Vikram, actually we have watched the time, so we would request you to wrap it up with your closing remarks.
Okay, in conclusion, what I would like to say is AI in aviation shows immense promise, but the ultimate priority remains safety. My experience with the RAG-based emergency model shows that AI has tremendous growth in aviation, and it needs strong governance and clear user control, and also the success rate of my RAG-based model, which is 80%, is certainly a no-go, because as far as safety is concerned, it has to be 100%. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Vikram, for connecting and sharing the ethics and governance that we need to follow because they are so powerful. And the industries that we are going to use this technology are also very critical ones. So I want to thank all the speakers, and to wrap up, I would call Chandra to share a few words and what his vision is and why we came up all here to discuss the quantum AI, which someone suggested that we shouldn't be calling it AI because it's going to go beyond our intelligence. So Chandra, all yours.
Thanks a lot, Smriti, for handling it like a pro, and you have rocked it. It was very engaging and interactive. So basically, before I talk about the mission and vision that we brought from this AI Quantum Nexus, so I would like to have one point that the one who talk more about the quantum, so they itself say that the most you feel you understand about the quantum, you understand less. But the revolution that it can bring or the possibilities are immense. And see, I'm just visualizing or imagining in future, so we are able to communicate with the external worlds, and you'll able to see the quantum twins, and you'll able to see the parallel universes. So that's what we are imagining for at this moment. We just want to run a community because there is very less amount of advocation and also information about the quantum and then AI together. So it's not just about only quantum, so quantum AI, and on top of that, we want to bring AR plus VR. So these are the four areas we want to advocate specifically in UAE market. So which is very less spoken. Quantum AI plus AR plus VR is very less spoken within the UAE. So that's the reason, along with me, Anita and then Ashia, Smriti, so we have joined together and we have formed this community, and fortunately we were supported by Mr. Praveen and Moin and few other people. So thanks a lot for joining us, and in future we will try to make it much bigger. It's like we're starting off. Now we have formed a kind of community, so this we will take it up and then we will try to collaborate with few other big giants. We will share all the information, whatever we have done here, and we will try to collaborate with big giants who are working on quantum specifically, and we will try to do the bigger events similar to this as we go ahead. Let's hope you all support us and we do it together. So before we wrap up, I request you to everybody join us here and let's have a quick photo. Okay.
Please go forward. We'll take a one.
Just one second. 1 minute.
We are not many, so we can. Put it back. That's it. Cheers.
Yeah, that's what. Just come. Yeah.
You can pick them up.
Yeah.
We'll take a chair and we'll
Yeah, that's true.
Welcome to the Machine Learning in Class video course, where you will learn both the mathematical concepts as well as the implementation in R programming language of all the popular machine learning models. My name is Abhishek, and along with my instructor, here, thank you so much.
The design of this chip, right? First of all, you can fit so in just a small form factor, right? This chip can